going to go down. Daddy's going to have to find the nice headshot onto him. And you know, oh my god, wait, GODSENT, no way. Reed trying to go for the third party. Onto Scrim Farm, finds one, finds potentially even a second over there. But GSG, they're currently also out of the circle compared to UDR that are currently in the circle. They got just such a good foothold.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for the final day of the group stages here for the EMEA League, as we today find out which top 16 teams are going to be moving into the grand final, which will be a 4-day extravaganza to find out who becomes our EMEA League champion, as well as which 3 teams go on to the global championship from the EMEA. My name's YaLLa, your host, and joining me in the distance to the left-hand side here, I have my experts, John, as well as Blank here. Guys, an exciting day ahead of us here, Blank, to start things off, to find out which of our teams are going to make it to the final.
We're going to chop them. We're going to slice them. 50% of the teams, they're going to be gone today. It's all over for some of these teams. But some teams will continue on to the finals and really prove their worth and find glory in that #1 spot. And obviously the top 3 going through to GC. Big time.
Not too bad at all, John. Exciting to see it, kind of to break it all down. Obviously, some of our teams are going to be a little bit sad. But the fact that 16 of our teams move on and get the opportunity to fight for those GC spots is very, very important indeed.
Yeah, I would say we're gonna decimate the ranks, but that's actually only 1/10 of the lobby that gets taken out. So it's more like I said, demi-mate, I suppose. We'll see what the derivation is on that linguistically later on. I'll have a little look during the games.
He did say something. Let's take a look at the. Let's take a look at the rankings.
Take shoes out, lads.
That is coming on here as we have Na'Vi yesterday getting themselves a double Erangel win, meaning that they were able to push up to first place, taking over World of Wonders, who had a few up and downs, did World of Wonders, but they're still in second place. Very, very strong indeed. And Klas Esports moving up into third, as they've been a little bit of a show stealer in the last couple of days. Not exactly to the extent that Na'Vi has been here, Blank, but Klas Esports has really shown up.
Klas Esports is popping off at the moment. I don't know really what much to say about them because we've talked about them at length and we'll talk about it a little bit later, but they've been making some big moves, and honestly one of their biggest moves was to command the circle, to go in the exact same spot 2 games in a row, day after day, and then go, this is the circle we know how to play, we won this circle before, let's just redo, let's just do it again. But for World of Wonders, the real wonders were the rotates we made along the way, because some of them were a bit weird yesterday. Sanhok, straight from bootcamp to Paradise Resort, it felt like a bit of throwaway game, but you know, that's okay. That's okay. We take those, and I think the World of Wonders will come back slapping.
The wonders that were the rotates that we made along the way. It sounded like an Oasis song, but anyway, let's keep going. We have our top 8 there, and they're sitting very firmly in a good position. Here's our 9th through 16. Some of these teams are going to have to be a little bit wary as to whether or not they can just get a few extra points on the board here to keep themselves in the safe zone here, John. So very important for these teams to make sure they don't fall under the pressure.
Yeah, and the nicest score right down there on the 16th place, but it's right on that edge, right? It's right next to that elimination zone, the red zone. And I have to get a couple more points on board. I'm sure we'll look at where we're predicting the bubble to be, but I'm looking at sort of 11th place upwards as the teams that are pretty much safe moving forwards. I say that tentatively, James. I say that very tentatively because, of course, we know that everything can change here in PUBG Mobile.
Yeah, definitely so. If the big teams up at the top don't continue to sponge up points, then that safe zone could be changed completely. Let's take a look now. 17th through 24th. The teams down here are going to be the ones that really need to get themselves shaped up and shipped down here into our top 16. Blank, what do you make of the names here? What about the snipers? What about the other teams in this?
Ooh, spooky page here. This is where it gets a little bit frightening. Really. Whoa! 69 points at the top. They really need to bring those numbers up, Marine Force DE. fastPay WildCats 66 there. Unicorns of Love. Please, for the love of unicorns, scout your compounds. We'd be very upset if you don't be doing that. And what about the snipers, Mr. James?
What about them? Yeah, great stuff. We got the Force as well down there towards the bottom. Those two teams are really going to have to do a lot of work, it feels, to try and push on up. Again, we'll take a look at that a little bit later. Let's take a look at our 25 through 32 briefly here, because this is a spot where, of course, John, it's going to need a ton of work to get up into that top 16. I'm thinking, like, win both your games today to try and get up there. What do you think?
This is the page for me where, as I said it the other day, I've pretty much written this page off, I'm going to be honest. I don't think that there's any realistic world in which they can achieve that sort of point accruing. 2 games left, and it's sort of, you know, they need 40 points to be able to even have a chance of jumping up, and it's going to be so difficult to actually pull that off. I just don't see it happening. If it does happen, I will eat my hat. You know, I just don't think it's going to happen. Yeah,
for a team like 5-6, for example, they're going to have to kill everyone in the lobby and then get wins. Like, that's going to be a tall order, I think. But, you know, that's how the cookie crumbles. So let's take a look at one of the focal points of yesterday when we talked to Blank, in fact, who's going to break down one of the moments here from our current lobby leaders.
That I will. So I have your boys Na'Vi on the screen, and let's quickly take stock of the situation here, James, because we've got Matic over here, we've got Oldboy out wide. So currently they're holding down this compound, and they've got a wide split going on. The difference is that the circle, actually, in my opinion, it was unfavorable for them, the fact that it dropped right on top of them, because now many teams are going to be coming to take this zone. It's very, very prevalent. A lot of teams want to look out to them. So this wide split is no longer useful for them. So if we go forward a little bit, you can already see that Klas is here, and they get an initial knock immediately onto Meku. At this point, you're going to see the teams from Na'Vi start to scramble backwards, and you can also see there in the distance, your boys NaixCS already making a rotate to pinch Na'Vi in. So it looks bad news. Lots of boys here, lots of boys. So we head forward a bit. We're going to fast forward in time using the magic of production. And you see here, there's actually a nade that Solus throws. And this is quite an important nade for me, in my opinion, because he drops it across, and this is attempting to go through the window to take down Oldboy. If it did actually land in the first place, this fight would have gone a lot differently, because Oldboy throws the nade after it goes off. So that one jumps off. Silas is already down, but again, we have to not focus on this. Although it's very flashy, we look off to the distance towards Matic. And more importantly, what Matic's doing here is he's actually preventing any of the players from NaixCS looking onto this fight with soft cover created by smoke. It's very smart. They cannot see down towards where Na'Vi's playing, and they can clean up this fight. So what I'm trying to say about Na'Vi at the moment is they're like the kings of the lobby right now of split-second decision making, because they had to move quick to make this happen. And you can already see there in that last clip, Tixi was already moving out to support Matic in this fight, because there's no way he can win 1v3, so he needs a little bit of help. So already you're seeing Tixi move up into a really nice position. Reeves opens it up for him from GODSENT. Thank you very much, mate. No, you're on a different team. That's very, very nice for me. But you can see Tixi actually stops here after he sees the first player. And this is trigger discipline for him in the first place, because he knows that what he can do now is look directly onto all the players from NaixCS and get a nice little rundown. And that is pretty much that fight over, which sets them up perfectly for the ending fight onto GODSENT, where they finish out this game. Fantastic. So really good job from the boys on Na'Vi. You're very, very happy to see it. And it's those split-second decisions where, like, you know what, we need to make a play, and we need to make it now, which makes them, for me, towards the top of the lobby, one of the best teams in this game, in this EMEA League, at least, I should say.
Nice breakdown. Let's take a look at the map performance as well here, and we can continue to kind of talk about this, because even the smokes towards the end that you were saying were blocking off the fight, multifaceted, right? Because they allowed Tixi to be able to just wide rotate without NaixCS being able to even spot him, which is very, very nice indeed. And also, you were saying at the beginning, normally I think players would see that circle and be like, yes, we got the circle. But at this level of players you're mentioning, when everybody is this skilled and crunching down on you from multiple angles, Na'Vi played this splendidly to deal with that many teams at the same time. Very good.
Lovely.
Yeah, John, what do you make of the stats here when it comes to the maps from Na'Vi so far throughout from the league play?
Well, I mean, Vikendi numbers are the standout one there. Obviously, that is only one game that they did win, and with only 2,100 damage on 15... no, sorry, not 15 kills. I don't think we have the kill numbers on that one, but that's, you know, that's a standard winning amount of damage for the map. So obviously these are averages. So when you look at Erangel, which is obviously the largest sample size that we have, getting 1,421 average damage is absolutely nutty across 6 games, half of those top 4 finishes, and they're getting so many placement points as well. 7.5 average per game is why they are sat at the top of this lobby, looking very good to be able to take that top spot if World of Wonders continue on their current trend. Yeah,
brilliant stuff. Na'Vi as an organization is going to be very happy with the league performance so far. Of course, it's not all said and done, Blank, but it's a great prelude for a roster like this going into the league final, surely.
100% they must be very, very happy about this indeed. And Na'Vi, obviously, I think the scouting from this team is probably the best I've seen in PUBG Mobile so far, because we do see a lot of organizations pick up teams and then they're not necessarily perform to the highest standard, but Na'Vi, I think, has created a fantastic roster of players here, which should take them far in the PUBG Mobile scene, and I hope that they remain to be a mainstay within the scene, because you know what, I've been really happy with the performance that they've set out today, and they're setting a standard for organizations within PUBG Mobile.
Yeah, very, very nice to see. Let's move on a little bit here because we've got other things to talk about before we get into our first games. We briefly mentioned them whilst we were looking at the league table, but Klas Game Esports, they do once again deserve highlighting in terms of what they've been able to accomplish over their last 2 days of gameplay. Let's take a look at their individual players and see what's what in that regard here, John. They've been great over the last 2 days. It's been a pleasure to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see that, you know, their average damage isn't the top in the lobby across the board, really. I mean, obviously, Silas there with the highest on 455, but really, that's not, you know, it's good, but it's nothing super special. The quality that comes from Klas is that team play, is, as Blank was saying, that ability to coordinate themselves in a fight, to make those split-second decisions, which puts them, in my mind, almost on a par with Na'Vi, who have been doing so well across the board. 2.8 average kills for Silas, though, is obviously a very standout number there, doing phenomenally and putting himself up there with some of the best frags in the tournament.
Yeah, very impressive, Blank.
I think that for me personally, like the reason this stands out so much, and John briefly touched on it there, is the fact that, you know, they are all getting these fairly, not top of the table numbers, but they're good averages across the board. And I think that far too many times we see teams with maybe there's that one player that does well, but in this case we have 4 players, and when you have that, it's a formidable team. You can see there that 5 out of the 10 they've had top 4 finishes, but no chicken dinners as of yet, John.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride, and it's unfortunate for them. They definitely, I feel like they deserved it on their military circle on the first time around. Obviously, they got pipped to the post. This actually during the highlights, you can see it with this game where YaLLa played spoiler from the sidelines and Bloodline took it away from them. But it feels like, you know, that's what a strong average team is all about, right? It's not always getting those first places. It's getting the numbers in consistently without that variation, without that discrepancy over the course of a 12-game tournament, which is relatively short compared to some of the other leagues we've seen in PUBG Mobile. That is so important, just to make sure you're always in the conversation.
There is an issue with this, though, gentlemen, which is in my history of watching PUBG Mobile across the time, PUBG and everything in every facet, there's only ever been, in my mind, one major tournament where a team has won the tournament without winning a chicken dinner. So the chicken dinners kind of do go hand in hand with it being able to get #1 at the very end of the day, Blank. And I think that's going to be very important for them to kind of try and round out, I feel, if the other ones are getting some big chicken dinner numbers on the back, right?
I think that getting that chicken dinner on board not only gives you the confidence to continue, but it's those big point numbers that you need to keep putting in. And like sometimes you can't always have these super consistent games where you're getting a top 3, you're getting a top 2. Sometimes you just need to have those big games, as we see from SWAT 69 yesterday that had that big game. It's knocked them all up into 16th place, and it's thrown them that basically rope that they can start to climb the cliff with. And I think those games are super duper important. And when you're a team like Na'Vi, who's shown us with the chicken dinners, they're heading towards the top of the lobby. Having those first places and those chicken dinners are pretty imperative to actually winning at the end of it all. But for me, one thing I'm looking out for today with those chicken dinners on board, and talking about placements wise, is that at the top of our leaderboards we have a lot of points being sponged away.
Correct.
So if you are those teams trying to get into that 16th place spot, you're gonna have a harder time of it, because you're going against some absolute titans at the top of the lobby who don't necessarily need the points, but we'd be taking them anyway.
Yeah, that's right. From winning the league to winning a place at the league final. Let's take a look at how things shape up in regards to who can try and get themselves to that top 16 spot here for our league finals. Because, of course, we looked at it a little bit yesterday, John, in terms of how many predicted points these teams will need to try and qualify for that top 16. And right now, in the last day, here's where we're sat at currently, John.
Yeah, 85 currently the predicted bubble based on some statistical analysis. Obviously, it is a prediction, which means it isn't certain that that's the number they'll need to cross,
Correct.
but it's likely to be so. Over the next 2 games, what that means is Alliance, they need to get 6 points. Seems relatively achievable, right? They should be okay. Over these 10 games, they've had an 8-point average, which means that they're looking good to be able to surpass that relatively comfortably. But as you get further down and further down, they're going to need to outperform themselves more and more and more, ending up on this table with the Force obviously down on 53, needing to get 33 extra points to even be in with a chance of passing that bubble line. And it's going to be such a difficult ask for them today after the performances they've had.
Blank?
So for Unicorns of Love, I said that I was looking for them to cross the hurdle yesterday. Now they've only got 2 games to do it. They've got currently a 6.1 per game average right now, and they're going to have to more than double that per game to even get above this threshold, which, like I said, which is just it's statistical analysis, but it is, at the end of the day, a prediction. So it could be higher than they need to reach. But right now, just from what we've already seen, 85 is the limit, but that's still a 12.5 per game average. But we were talking about chicken dinners, James. We were talking about chicken dinners. An average so far from a chicken dinner we see ranges from about 18 to around about 33, 32 points on the high end of things. So if they can get an average game and get 25 points in one game, they're looking in a good spot to get in, but they have to get another chicken dinner. And honestly, where they've got it before was on Sanhok, where things are very volatile. They're very, very messy. And it feels like sometimes on Sanhok, you just win games. And it's not necessarily because you made the best rotations or you did some great killing. It's just because that's the way Sanhok goes. So I would like to see them potentially get a game on a more favorable map like Erangel, which is much cleaner. The question is, can they do it? Can they do it? It would be great to see, because Unicorns of Love, they're a well-known organization, and it would be a shame for them to go out now.
It definitely would be. And just for people at home watching, just to remember from our overall league table, currently 16th place has 69 points, 17th place has 69 points. So even if that average changes in terms of who's going to be able to qualify for that top 16 spots, it's that close. We're really getting down to the wire here today. Let's check in as well with the schedule, as we've got 4 more games remaining for all of these teams to try and grab themselves that league finals spot. We'll have 2 Erangels to bookend things, and then we've got ourselves Sanhok and Vikendi in the middle. So we're starting off with Group A, and I believe it was Group C with them, correct me if I'm wrong. C.
Yeah, we got AC. I know, because it's cold in the room, like the AC really is. Group C here, we've got WildCats as well. Headquarters, I'm pretty excited to look towards as well, James, to be honest with you.
John, you shook your head at him like a disappointed dad once.
Yeah, I feel like AC. I'll go with it. I'll go with it. You know, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Oh dear, I love how you two interact with each other. It's so funny. But anyway, coming up, John, with Erangel on the way. We've seen some great games in Erangel. It has not disappointed at all throughout the entire league play, I feel.
No, it's been a relatively consistent, cerebral, rotational style of map, and it's been really great to see how the teams have adapted, how they've changed. Specifically, I mean, we talked about Klas Esports, Klas Game Esports earlier.
Yeah.
They have had, you know, they started off not so great, and they adapted, they changed, they found their footing after that first day's games, and it was fantastic to see. Well, the first couple of days' games, but they still have managed to rise up to third based on some smart rotations. You're humming at me. Are you in agreement, or is that?
Yeah, it's an agreement. It's an agreement.
Okay.
Well, I mean, come on, let's be honest, boys. Klas Game, as well as Na'Vi, have dominated the last couple of Erangels, so let somebody else have a go, Blank.
It is true, and I think that it is time for someone else to have another go, because Klas Game Esports, they drop in Ferry Pier at the moment. The 2 games we've seen them do fairly fantastic on is where it's dropped down to Sosnovka, so they've had a fairly easy path. Not only have they got chance to keep teams on the Western Bridge, but they also can get in there really early afterwards, so they can get a few free kills, get in, make sure they know what the lay of the land is, and then move in afterwards, whilst other teams are trying to rotate down from the northern side of the map. So if we see like a more favorable circle that's towards the center, yeah, potentially it's time for another team to step up. And you know, I'm just looking for a team like potentially Unicorns of Love to not leave Pochinki so early, because you have a lot of rotational paths available to you. Try and think about where you want to go and then take it.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I'll send you on out. We are almost ready here for the game. Going to be a good old time here. Let's check out over on Twitter as well. Hashtag EMEA League as well as @esports PUBGM. Join the conversation and let's bring on the commentators here for Erangel to get things started for our final day. It's the final day, Max. Man, you excited? Woo-hoo-wee.
Hella excited. Hey, Klas, hope you're doing well. But yeah, can't wait to jump into the action. We've got 4 more games, and after that, we only have the top 16 teams.
That's right.
Get to the league finals. I'm extreme hype.
Today, we get rid of 16. In fact, I'm gone as well. I'll see you in a few.
Hey, see you later. There you go. Klas got eliminated. He's not going to make it to the league finals. Feels bad, man. But yeah, Imperium, how you doing, man? Ready to get into the action? We've got 4 games. It's going to be intense. It's going to be epic.
Man, it's going to be pretty damn awesome. I'm going to quote Bava from yesterday's interview. Never underestimate the heart of a champion, and every single one of these teams that are fighting for the top 16 spot, they are going to have to play like a champion if they're going to make it through.
Indeed, playing like a champion, and only champions will make it to the next stage. 16 teams are after make it to the league finals for next weekend, and after that, top 3 teams will make it to the global championship. So overall, the stakes are high. And the pressure is high over here, and just like Blank was saying, you've got to get the AC in to try and really cool down the atmosphere, because it's a very fiery atmosphere in Imperium. It's really tense, and I think that a lot of teams are potentially thinking of going extremely passive, or maybe some teams like we did see yesterday, the Monster, maybe hot drop it to get a lot of frags under their belt.
Well, I was talking to El Chapo, SNAKEsquad, and him and the team have already recognized this from yesterday's game. So they are planning on not dropping in Rozhok because of the potential hot drop in Rozhok from the Monster. And that's something that every single team is going to have to be aware of, right? That's something that every single team is just going to have to be able to, as much as possible, adapt to, and maybe thread with a little bit of caution. For the teams at the very top that are kind of in the safe zone, all well and good. For the teams in the bottom zone, you've got nothing to lose. It's the teams that are kind of in the middle. That's, you know, it's do or die, it's life and death, so to speak.
Talking about the zone, the phase 1 circle zone is going to be actually really, really kind to these teams. It's going to be dead center almost, and a lot of these teams are going to be inside 12. 18 will have to rotate in, but there's a lot of room on the eastern edge of Quarry. So overall, this is like one of the best circles and playing path we had so far, but you're going to be potentially seeing a few teams getting close to each other, especially up north. The WildCats going very split.
Oh, Max, this is a false sense of security for the teams, right? You know, I'm not feeding into this phase 1 circle. No, most people feed into this phase 1 circle and think, this is great start to the game. Nah. I'm expecting hard shifts in this game, right? I'm expecting some pain in the ass shifts. Maybe not phase 2, maybe not phase 3, but phase 4. Yeah, man, teams should definitely expect the unexpected with these circle shifts.
And myself and Klas yesterday, we wanted a city finish. Maybe today, maybe on the final day of the league play. I think that would be a good way to end it off. And even though it would be absolute mayhem and the end game would more feel like a game of Sanhok than anything else, I think it'll be intriguing to see. We're going to be then, of course, on the Monster. They did drop over here this time around on the Erangel game yesterday. Not going to be the team that they were opening for today, so there's not going to be a hot drop, there's not going to be early kills to go their way. But also, you know, the Monsters, maybe they should not only aim for kills, also positioning points, because short is less than what it used to be in the past, was like 20 points for chicken dinner, now it's 15. But still, that's a significant amount, and I think that here the Monsters could also put a big emphasis on taking those big wins.
Yeah, definitely, and kind of, you know, to touch upon what Blank said about the points for a chicken dinner, across the 20 games that we've had so far in the EMEA League, the average points per chicken dinner has been 25.55. I would say the kind of majority numbers we've seen have been like 23 points, but the average is 25. So by all means, it is possible, but of course the caveat to that is for the teams that are struggling, or for the teams who are in the middle pack, their average points per game up until this point is obviously in the 7, 8s, and 9s, right? So it's nowhere near that mark. So it's going to be kind of twice the battle, twice the climb. And hey, look, if you're going to be able to get the job done, you're going to be able to get the job done.
You get the job done is what we're here for. Hoping that also Unicorns of Love can get the job done. No, that's what Blank is hoping for. He's hoping for his little horses to make it to the finish line.
Yeah.
And at the end, you know, we've seen Unicorns of Love currently being the team with the lowest team with one chicken dinner. Currently in 22nd position. They got themselves 61 points. They can still make it through, but at least I'm happy by the simple fact that they're not getting hot dropped by teams not putting a big focus on them to try and potentially eliminate them and take a few points along the way, like did happen for the Monster yesterday in Rozhok. So at least, no, not having a dark shadow just lingering on their position in their compound.
Yeah, but this circle isn't actually this most favorable for them because Pachinki is somewhat in the center. So as we notice, maybe teams rotating a little bit earlier, and again, nothing to lose for some of these teams in this first game, that rotating and disengaging out of Pachinki is maybe a little bit risky. I know Sandro and Nano have kind of sent themselves forward, but again, that lack of information, and with SWAT 69 rotating earlier, they are going to have to be very careful.
I mean, this is what Unicorns of Love do normally, right? They always go to the east, and they always try and take themselves a position next to Potato Hill to gather information early on. There's pretty central circles, so they're going to move on by. They do spot a few players off SWAT 69 in the distance, but Nano, he's going to be taken solo. Damar is going to be over there, and they're going to have actually ZART take himself that knockdown initially onto Nano. And here, unfortunately, you said it right. Lack of information. They did not know the team of SWAT 69 were there, and they're going to lose one player right off the bat.
Yeah, but that's going to be returned by Sandro with the DB28, so that's nicely done for Unicorns of Love. It's not ideal because they've lost the player, but for them to at least maybe clap back, send a bit of a message to SWAT 69 and just suppress those players and create more freedom, it's a good response.
Yeah, you bite the Unicorns bite back. As nicely done by Sandro. But Pokus now really stuck in this dip. It's not going to be an easy way for him to rotate out. And I think that now, especially the rest of SWAT 69, they got that information and know where he is. The moment he tries to move away from that, if he doesn't have a smoke, could make things a little bit more complicated. So I would recommend pick up some... Oh, wait a second. Polar Ace are pushing down onto Unicorns of Love from the top of Potato Hill. So split, Unicorns of Love. They are struggling to take these fights on an even footing. And Ulysses having no meds, no heal-offs, no utility is going to get absolutely obliterated by the side of Polar Ace. No, we said at the start, right, they have a chance of making it on through, but they are not making it easy for themselves.
Well, you know, like for Polar Ace, you know, who are in a different situation compared to Unicorns of Love and SWAT 69, respectfully, you know, they have kind of nothing to lose. They're currently in 28th spot, 34 points, an average of 3.4 points per game. They have in no way, shape, or form played to their full potential throughout the EMEA League. But hey, it's the last day, nothing to lose. Play with your heart, play with that passion and that aggression. And, you know, we'll see it come through at the end of the day. Like, look at the fact that they have Perks and Jody for this last day. Those two players have really, I don't think, even featured in their EMEA League games up until this point.
Yeah, they did steal Perks from Unicorns of Love, the EU team or the ex-EU team, so that was still really nice from Perks being able to join up with the Polar Ace squad. I do think they can pull on through, really, if they get some big results, as we do know they can do. I'm hoping that we can have Ked things and Sajek's kind of performances in today. If they do so, it could be possible, but we all know Imperium that is going to be an extremely hard kind of...
It is.
Run of events they're going to have to go in their favor to take this win potentially today. So, still best of luck to the team.
Of course. So, looking at the position of some of the teams, SNAKEsquad that we see featured on our screens, they dropped in Lipovka, safe area. The good thing for them is that only old team are actually on the eastern side with them, so their rotation towards the center of the circle is going to be automatically a lot freer and a lot easier. Still, the timing has to be on point because they have to get that level of information, and they shouldn't play too passive. Otherwise, come phase 2, phase 3, it's going to be a little bit harder. And then for the likes of other teams on the western side, like 12-18, YaLLa Esports and fastPay WildCats, it's a little bit more hectic. And as they rise over the hill from Everest, overlooking kind of headshot hills, you know, they do have to be aware that as they look over that, they could come across more teams.
It's now called Headshot Hills, as said by John Blank. It changes every few seasons, we'll change the name every few minutes, I'm sure.
Every tournament that's going
every tournament, John and Blank are going to change the name, so they'll find some more in the future. I like the fact that the Monster did move away from Rozhok really early on. I think that their team would tend to linger on a little bit too much in drop locations, so they're trying to be a little bit more reactive, get himself center circle, because literally, I'm going to say right now, the Monster take one loss, like one, even just average game, they're not going to take it. They need huge, insanely good results to do. just have a slim chance to make it on through. So we'll see how that's going to be working out for them. But 12-18 now on the western edge in Gatka Fields. They're going to have to force on through. You've got YaLLa Esports, you've got Headquarters. 12-18 going to have to put a little bit of scouting before breaching the circle.
Phase 2 centered up, and I kind of expected that with Phase 2 a bit, but again, expect the unexpected. It's given a little bit more freedom for the likes of World of Wonders and Umbra. Let's be fair, those are two teams that don't have to worry about their overall position, don't have to worry about not being in the top 16. They're already there. They have their plane ticket booked. They're checking in. They're going to be heading on to the flight, at the end of today, all good in the hood. So they can play with a little bit more freedom. They don't need to worry.
That'll be fine. SNAKEsquad will indeed take a few little shots versus Old Team, who's getting really close by. Old Team, though, they have a big emphasis and focal point onto the more northern edge, towards the plateau area, specifically of World of Wonders. So they're going to make it over there, potentially a few DMR/sniper shots coming on through if they really want to. But they are pushing this one really far over to the compound, so might have a little bit of a long-distance shot between them and World of Wonders, so we'll have to keep that in mind and keep that on our screens.
It's a great compound that Old Team have rotated onto. Was it a bit of a deeper rotation than I would like to have seen? Could they have stopped and scouted a bit? Yeah, but the fact that nobody's there, they've gotten there before, wow. First, hey, fair play to them.
I'm surprised World of Wonders are coming out like this in the open when they should have normally seen Old Team really rotating into this compound, so I think that's a little bit surprising. But World of Wonders, take a few shots, instant response, U-turn, back to the compound nearby, so they'll be okay. And now it will really turn down to what I just said, right? A battle of knocks, a battle of just using utility and the resources of your opponents, shooting down also their med pack, shooting also their helmet and also their vest. So that's what we're going to try and do on each other. And you never know. Also, Old Team, they got, I would say, nothing to lose in this one. If they get one knock on World of Wonders, they might just full send and just go out with a bang, literally.
Exactly. Teams a little bit more under pressure down south. NASR Esports and Unicorns of Love are close to each other. Again, two teams fighting for that top 16 spot. You have Arab GSG to the northwest of them. You have Headquarters to the west of Arab GSG, and SWAT 69 are still in the same place they were at the start of this game outside of Pachinki.
This really little shot's going to be exchanged, really looking for that initial knockdown. Umbra, they're looking good. Like, we don't have to worry about Umbra whatsoever. The fifth position. Fifth position, by the way, with Zero Chicken Dinners doing really similar performances to Klas Game in a way. So they deserve still a lot of respect. Umbra being like one of the underdogs team, I would say, going into this event and actually really outdoing all of my expectations. So just for that alone, Umbra deserve all of the respect in the world. So let's see if they can try and maybe snatch away that top 1 position, even though I don't think it'll be able to happen because World of Wonders are just so comfortable up there with Navi.
Yeah, definitely 110%. Anything can happen, though, in these games. And this is a little bit more passive than we've seen over the last 2 days. And I think that's to be expected. Again, we have this mix of teams who are, we have right now, in my opinion, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 teams that are kind of in that zone fighting for the top 16. And those teams are playing relatively passive, relatively safe, and across the lobby we've seen very little action. Only 4 players have gone down. No teams have been lost. But let's see where Phase 3 goes. It's going to be that hard shift that I did expect, but it's gone down south, and that's okay because it's complemented most of the teams who are already inside the circle. And I'll tell you what, Unicorns of Love and NASR Esports, they're going to be breathing a decent sigh of relief on that shift.
I want to see an instant response from SWAT 69, which you currently already see, and they're already seeing yourself Damar pushing on forward because they're downhill. If they wanted to move away from the edge of the circle on the next shift, it's just got a slim chance of going in their favor. SWAT 69 have to move away from that compound, which indeed they're doing. They sent Damar forward, scouted the information, the rest of the team follows. That is what I want to see from SWAT 69. That is the reason why they can make it through to the league finals.
It's going to be tough for our GSG because they're kind of in the center and teams are hovering and rotating around them. SNAKEsquad are going to be to the right of the Monster. The Monster seem to be kind of full sending it towards Arab GSG.
There it is, the crash going to be happening. First crash of this game, first crash of day 6. He will be coming out victorious of this one. Bayat's going to be holding on strong to the top side of this building. He's been doing so much work for the Arab GSG team, even though they've been struggling on the bigger picture. But Vito, really, he's feeling confident on that position. Teams from down south could have just a nice little sneaky angle onto Vito if he's not really taking that one carefully. Farron going to go for the push downstairs. Finds himself a nice trade up. Bayat will be following up, going for his own 1v2 versus Crazy and Roz, but unfortunately Bayat will be overwhelmed by the opposition. Zoro and Elito got to try and join up on the fight with their allies, or otherwise Farhan and Bayat will both get flushed away. Got to make use of that man advantage. Vito now going to go for the push. 2 players of the opposing side were knocked away. Vito, as I said it right, if you stay in that position, a third party could potentially be happening, and it will be happening indeed. That's going to be Boyka taking himself that knockdown also, but Andelito of ArabGSG will get knocked down. Zoro will be left as a one-man team. And this is looking like the end of ArabGSG in this fight versus the Monsters. They know where Zoro is. He's going to go for the first aid kit, but it's not going to happen. But still, SNAKEsquad, they're going for a long-distance fight. They're third party in. Extremely hard. Zoro takes up one. Can he get the second onto Roz? He's going to have to really shoot another weapon, switch over if he can. Roz going to go for the push inside, and that is going to be it. ArabGSG will end up eliminated in 14th.
That is the end of ArabGSG, and I can confidently say that is the end of their journey in the EMEA League. Unfortunately, they were in 29th coming into this. First game going out in 14th is not going to be good for them. But as we pan over, we see the World of Wonders are taking the fight on to Polar Ace. And Polar Ace held on to this Potato Hill area since the start of the game when they rotated from that school location. And here's the thing, we all know that playing on Potato Hill is quite tricky. It's long-winded, it's fast, it has decent kind of high ground, low ground areas where you can spread yourselves and it can hold on to multiple teams. The one thing that is a possible positive for Polar Ace is that Perks, even though he's dead, is used to playing Potato Hill, so might be able to help guide the team.
The team a little bit, but the circle is going to be guided towards SNAKEsquad and NASR Esports Imperium right on the western edge of Farm. WildCats, they got an easy rotation right. They're just going to wrap around over on the east, just find a nice little compound down southeast, I believe. Maybe actually, oh, you know what? I'll take that one back. Nick's Congenials are going to snatch it away first, and they'll have a decent position in circle.
And even Unicorns of Love are looking good based on this circle shift, Max. And hey, look, fastPay WildCats, 18th in the standings coming into this game. So that is a team that, you know, we weren't expecting to be kind of in that fight. We're expecting to be confidently on top of the leaderboard. So it's a little bit unusual for me, but now they can make this game count.
There you go, Old Team going to be taking a fight versus Polar Ace. Polar Ace, they came down, they had the information on Old Team earlier as they rotated down here, and Old Team get absolutely obliterated, decimated by the Polar Ace team. These are the kind of games that Polar Ace are definitely going to be requiring to take a decent performance. SNAKEsquad, though, from down below, waiting for Polar Ace to, at one point in time, go down this hill. They're going to hold on strong to their central position on the circle. But the Monster actually going to get pushed upon by World of Wonders. World of Wonders going to mow down the opposition of the Monster. They pick up Roz, instantly going to go for the flush. Crazy going to get spotted away. Crazy will drop down to the Groza shots of Sun HP, one of the top fraggers over in this EMEA League lobby. As Vito trying to go for the last second res onto Mad Max, unfortunately will not have the time to do so. Will be contested by Enjoy7. Goes for the jump shot through the window, but it's just not going to pay off despite them taking down ArabGSG with 4 kills going their way. They're going to be overwhelmed by World of Wonders and out in 11th.
The Hunters became the Hunted, and you know, it's like that typical, you know, kind of pyramid or whatever you want to call it in terms of, you know, you have the little fishy, you have the big fishy, then you have the shark. Well, the sharks came out to play in that team fight, and the little fishies that are the monsters got chewed up in that fight. But now YaLLa Esports, they're facing a little bit of pressure from 12-18.
A little bit of pressure, I think that's a lot of pressure. 12-18, they're just putting a barrage of shots onto YaLLa Esports, just like, oh no, I'm getting the hell out of here. I don't want to get involved. This is not cool. But Headquarters is actually going to be the next team they're going to have to really deal with. The Headquarters also in a pretty decent spot to control the more western edge of the circle. But 12-18 really taking their time to rotate in. And I think that here they just do not know the Unicorns of Love are a 2-man team currently on the compound down southwest. So 12-18 really thinking, how do we approach the circle? There are so many ways to do so, but it's really tricky on their end.
It is, especially because they kind of focus a little bit too much on YaLLa Esports, and one of the 12-18 players got swiped by Unicorns of Love who were inside the circle. The compound held onto by Unicorns of Love gives great sightlines on the higher ground hills just above that coastline, but 12-18 kind of recognize this, and they've gone for an instant rotation underneath Unicorns of Love, and they've even gone into the circle down on the south side. Unicorns of Love at least will be aware of that.
They already got World of Wonders up to 5 kills, and it's just like John and Blank said earlier on the desk. They said that, no, the top teams, they don't care if you're trying to qualify. They're just going to sponge up all those points. They're going to take them all for themselves, because why not? They're just not going to give a damn of the opposition, which is how you should be doing things. But YaLLa Esports currently, I would say they need about, you know, good old 50 points if they want to qualify. If they die now, I'm going to say right now it's over for them. They need to take 2 really good games.
And one thing I didn't quite realize is that SWAT 69 got taken out, Max. and they were in 16th on 69 points. So could this be the end of their run? Is that the hope lost for their side coming into their final game of the EMEA League? Of course, we'll have to find out. Until then, this game continues on. And what did I say about the circle shifts, Max? It's gone once again in the southeast.
NaixCongenials just preying on their lucky stars. They're looking good, but 12-18. They see this, right? They did go for the wide rotation around Unicorns of Love. They get scouted. They saw them. They didn't want to take the breach because they do not know how many teams, how many players are in that compound, so they're not going to take that risk whatsoever. They're going for a 2-2 split, saying 2 players forward to scout on the compound of NaixCongenials and thinking if they want to breach it later on down the line. But once again, YaLLa Esports, they got 15 seconds Imperium. Their car in shambles. This literally looks like the end of YaLLa Esports. I cannot see them come out on top.
Plus, World of Wonder actually creeping kind of behind Headquarters. Now, that could go into favor of YaLLa Esports because Headquarters could get distracted by World of Wonders. But right now, it seems like both teams are focusing on the YaLLa Esports.
Yep, Headquarters also going to try and use those shots between YaLLa and World of Wonders. Then she try and disengage and a few players on forward. At least one scout is what is going to be happening. But World of Wonders also just understanding, this is not worth it. Would you have them one player of YaLLa Esports going down because of the blue zone? Also, World of Wonders, they're just going to YOLO mode, sending it forward onto Polar Ace. Polar Ace, they know a lot of teams are going to try and contest this northern rotation and that northern position. So they're going to smoke themselves up, try and hold on to that position as long as possible. But SNAKEsquad, they have a compound which is currently outside of circle, but they're not rotating just yet. They want to put the pressure down, diminish the amount of teams in the northern edge before rotating themselves as YaLLa Esports go down, and so will their hopes and dreams of making it to the league finals.
SNAKEsquad do most of the work for World of Wonders. Happy day, so that means there's less potential danger for the side of Polar Ace, but now it's Headquarters. They're going to take the fight to 12-18. That's going to be another knockdown onto Jammers.
Yeah, that 2-2 split, I think, it was a good idea overall, but I think that they did linger on a little bit too much, especially for that 2 split of Nuggets and Psych. So very unfortunate for 12-18, going to lose 2 of their very precious players, but Headquarters still a little bit of pressure to go through. You know, Unicorns of Love, despite losing 2 players very early on to SWAT 69 and Polar Ace, they're still able to keep himself focused in a shack. He's in a decent spot so far, and he's just going to take this one very slow because Unicorns of Love literally cannot afford a bad game. He's got to scout it up, or otherwise it will be the end potentially for the Unicorns. There's going to have a great spray coming out. World of Wonders will be out, but we don't really talk about that too much because they're still looking just so good.
Yeah, they are looking so good. And this is also good for SNAKEsquad. Again, they kind of punish World of Wonders on behalf of Polar Ace, and that was great because they grabbed a couple of kills. They're on 2 so far. With 8 teams left standing, they're on the northwestern edge of the circle. They don't have to worry too much about Polar Ace for now, but they will have to think about NASR Esports on the western side.
Headquarters also a team that's looking really good so far in this tournament. They've been just absolutely popping off in 8th position. They are going to be nice and dandy position. Oh, Northern Ship, man, we've got hard shift after hard shift. You mentioned at the very start, right? No, phase 1 circle, it was very nice. It was very kind to the team and players. Now just go, oh, left, right, okay, left, right, what's happening? I do not know. It feels more like a game of Twister than PUBG Mobile itself. It's going to be in the vicinity of SNAKEsquad and Polar Ace.
SNAKEsquad again breathing a sigh of relief.
Unicorns.
Headquarters go down. That's gonna be the end of Unicorns as well. Not a good result, barely in the top 5, and that is gonna put us down to 16. It's a bit of a feels bad man indeed, but it does create more space on the outside of the circle for 12-18 and NaixCongenials to move into the circle.
We said it right. Polar Ace, their team that, in our books, they can perform. They can make it happen. If we have, ourselves, Savage X, Ked performing, Perk, despite him taking away, you could still potentially direct his team a little bit in a better fashion to try and take himself this win. They got 7 kills already, making it into top 6. Like, Polar Ace, if they take a win here, I'm going to put them back into the race. Literally, I think they've got such a big potential.
If you notice, they've been actually quite calculated with those kills because Ked is the highest damage dealer. He's in like 7, but Savage X gets knocked.
Jack's going to be taken down, as just said, but the WildCats under pressure. Ked able to find himself that frag. That's going to be 8 kills in the vicinity of Polar Ace. The nades looking clean. Ked goes for it. Mer is going to be spotting that nade away. The nade will explode, hitting a lot of damage, but NaixCongenials also getting spotted away. About 12-18 as they're just lingering in the backside into the shadows. Ked going to be found away. The flush will be happening for the WildCats. Polar Ace down to 1 player. That is going to be extremely risky. It's going to be Jody, the old player of Scrim Farm. Can he be the hopes of dreams of his team to make it to the league finals? Can he get a good result for his team? We'll have to wait and see. But 12-18 going on to NaixCongenials. Found Vitamin, Yankee, Shimilo. But 12-18 just not seeing this as a fight that they desperately have to take outside. They're just going to get in circle and get a better spot. Oh my god, El Chapo! The Mirador of this game just sniping everyone in the lobby.
SNAKEsquad fighting for the top 16 spot, Max. They're on 4 kills so far. El Chapo being that sightline high ground on top of that tower, giving information to the rest of his team, and more importantly, creating space by grabbing those kills on the remaining players inside the circle, inside this lobby. 5 kills for SNAKEsquad in this game so far.
I mean, they're 14th. As long as they remain, a minimum consistent on these games, they should be fine. So really, these kind of performances, these kind of kill points, especially 5 going their way, is exactly what they need. You still got the Snake, Jody. He's going to be the main focal point of this one. I'd say the earlier he dies, the least chance it is for his team to really make it to the next stage. So he really has to try and get rid of NaixCongenials and WildCats, or maybe just avoid them as a whole, which we understand that Imperium is going to be a very hard task to achieve for him, as the circle is just about to rotate once again.
The 3 teams we really have to focus on is NASR Esports, fastPay, WildCats, and SNAKEsquad. Those are the 3 teams that are in most danger of losing or not losing a top 16 spot.
El Chapo, so this guy's just bullying the lobby from this position. It is a ballsy move though, Imperium, but he understands now the circle, not in his favor. He's got 30 seconds, doesn't want to get pressured by the blue. He's going to move on forward. Catch! Doing some work on NaixCongenials. Find himself Jackie, Vitamin-less player standing for NaixCongenials. Jody, he's seen a few knocks happening on the eastern edge. He wants to maybe use this opportunity to strike while he still can. Strike while the iron is hot. The nades will not connect. The utility will not be there for Jody just yet, as the circle's slowly going to be actually pushing all of these players towards him. So he can maybe use that rock to his full advantage to take 1 kill on Naix and 1 kill on the WildCats.
NASR Esports and SNAKEsquad are fighting 2 teams, and they're running for the top 16. 3 knocks onto the members of 2 knocks onto the members of SNAKEsquad, but El Chapo with the nade.
El Chapo, freaking stop! He's just dominating and bullying this lobby into oblivion. But NASR though, Vector Power, you love to see it. Imperium Satan coming in to play for NASR Esports. El Chapo will be saving the glory days of his team of SNAKEsquad, though. Going to get the last second res onto Senku. Satan going to go for the push or for the res behind that car, which he's apparently going to go for. But they got naded earlier. This is still a risky position to go for when potentially they still have a few nades up in their back pocket. He gets another res. But Satan not going to go for the res. He wants to go aggressive. He wants to eliminate SNAKEsquad right here, right now. It's going to be a 1v2 versus BoyCat and Chapo. And now because BoyCat is going to get a first aid kit, potentially, if he's got time to do so, it would be huge. But NASR taken down by, once again, BoyCat and El Chapo. These guys are legendary, but 3 teams are still in this game. Jody of Polar Ace is still in play. They did get rid of NaixCongenials because of 1-2-1-8. It's going to be a game. 12-18, Polar Ace, and also SNAKEsquad. But this is a huge game, especially for both Polar Ace and SNAKEsquad. If they take a win, it's just confirming their chances of potentially still making on over to the league finals.
SNAKEsquad, 9 kills in this game. I said to El Chapo, play your own game, play to your strengths.
Jody, this is huge. 10 kills already for them. Potentially chicken dinner spots. Also, BoyCat cannot hit the shots, unfortunately. If he takes second position with 11 kills, it would be insane. But BoyCat dies, stolen away by 12-18. Bandita doing the work. Jody, this is a 1v1. This is a huge game once again. 12-18. They're all fine in terms of the standings. But Polar Ace, this is their redemption arc. This feels like an anime. Seeing how good this redemption arc is so far. But Jody going to snake his way on forward, looking for Bandita. It's going to be an AKM versus a Scar. Which one will be the mightiest? Who will be taking this game, Imperium?
Yes. First or second place can be the reason Polar Ace qualify or do not qualify. Game 1 of the day, they pulled out a stonking performance. They will need to follow suit. Whatever happens at the end of this one, I'm giving my bets over to Polar Ace. The way they performed in this game, the heart of a champion from the Potato Hill onwards inside these circles has proven that they have what it takes.
But right now we've seen actually, he got himself a tier 2 vest for Jody, a tier 1 vest for Bandita, and actually the helmet almost gone completely off for Bandita.
Yeah.
And that's a huge actually advantage going over to Jody. He's got 40 bullets compared to 47. Bandita apparently going to go for the DP28 play, close range. The bloom can be a little bit tricky to really control. And I think that is the reason why Jody has a little bit of an advantage going into this fight, because he has just better, tier 3 helmet and also that tier 2 vest.
Yeah, but Max, if you notice, the terrain just ahead of Jody is a lot clearer compared to Bandita, and Bandita is on that slightly lower ground terrain, which does give him just that minuscule more advantage should Jody snake his way over that little tiny elevated terrain.
to give them a little bit of an advantage. But when there's a snake finish like this, you just never know. Literally just able to get that surprise factor, spotting out the player beforehand is what can make the difference. But Bandita, he knows what he's doing. He's got himself a nice little spot of grass, a little bit higher grass, making himself really hard to detect by Jody. But this is just such a chill game. But once again, for you guys who did maybe join a little bit late, not sure exactly what this fight is for, Jody of Polar Race, they're currently standing down in 28th position. They need 2 huge games to have just a slimmage of chance to make it over to the league finals. This game might be the doing or the undoing of Polar Race as a whole. The circle is going to close up in just a few seconds around these teams. And you said it right, Jody is going to be in a patch of clear terrain, making it easy for Bandita to spot him out and initiate with a spray on that DP28. Jody, wrapping around. He makes it over, actually.
DP28 versus AKM.
There you go. Which one is the OP weapon? It's going to be a test run. Oh my god, this is so intense!
Has a slower fire rate, but AKM isn't exactly the best close range weapon.
DP28 struggles a lot. The bloom is going to be really hard. Jody spots him out. Bandita takes him down, and Polar Race take the win. And that is what they needed to do. The pickup from the Scrim Farm team over into Polar Race is paying off, is paying dividends, Imperium. And this game, if they do take another great performance on their second game today, can change the entire course of history for them.
Is it too little, too late? Is that going to be enough? We'll have to wait and find out. Before this moment, Polar Race take that chicken dinner. And Jody knew, because of that elevated train, that he had to stand up. He had to take that chance. And he took it. He took hold of it. And he ended up winning. Great game from Polar Race.
Yeah, very important win for them, considering that they are sat outside the safe zone right now when it comes to the bubble here. Brilliant stuff, Imperium, to see them get the win. They really wanted to take that patiently towards the end, and they had a great position. I think it was on Potato Hill for a lot of that game, especially considering the hard shifts, which didn't really help anybody for a long time.
Oh, no, it really didn't. And look, as I said during the game, Polar Race have in no way, shape or form played to their potential. And I would even say in this game they didn't, but they played so much better than what we've seen.
All right, well, thank you very much, gentlemen. I'll get you back here for our middle maps for the Battlegrounds coming up soon. And we'll bring on John and Xander here to talk about this one. A bit of a rough game for a lot of teams here, boys, especially with these hard shifts. Blank, it was hard shift central. It never ended.
It was super hard shift central. As you can see, I've got a jacket on now because it got a little bit Polar Ace Ice Arctic action towards the end with your boys. Jody there taking it all the way to the end for Polar Ace. They really did need those points, and we were looking at it, and you know, we saw that actually they've made that eastern rotation, especially when they knew there's so many hard shifts going down to the east side. There's surely not many teams on that side of the map, so it was pretty smart in the end what they ended up managing to do, and just holding on, clinging on for dear life towards the end of that game. And in the end, you know, I was really proud of Jody because we saw those two players. It was very cowardly. It was a cowardly ending. They were just crouching around, proning, and suddenly, you know, Jody's like, I've had enough. I've got across the Deathly Road, and now I'm getting up and going to shoot you. So I was happy. I was happy.
I think he'd had a little bit of a sight through the grass. We can't be sure entirely, as we did have X-ray. I would love to see exactly what the players see in some of those moments, but that's by the by. Let's take a look at the points coming in here from this and see what's going on. 26 points for Polar Ace. Wow. It is big, gentlemen. John, when you look at how the points that they needed to get here in the last day, 26 is huge for them.
I like that, Gentleman John. Is that my new title, James?
Yes.
There we go. But yeah, fantastic to be able to clean up those final fields, as Blank mentioned as well. Such a crucial time to get those points on board. That's going to push them so much closer to that final goal of getting into the top 16. It'd be fantastic to see if they're able to make it happen. Obviously, with a chicken dinner, they'll be joining good company. Not Klas Game Esports just yet, though. So still be waiting for their chicken dinner to come. World of Wonders had a pretty tricky rotation. They are on this page. They did get 6 points, so it's not the end of the world, but it's not what we've come to expect from them, and that seems to be the running story for them over today, over the last few days as well, that they have just let it slip a little bit, and maybe they're trying to try out other play styles, other strategies, but it's not working, quite frankly, not yet anyway.
Yeah, they've been a bit more smash mouth in the last couple of days of World of Wonders blank, but it's by the by. I think one thing that a lot of teams don't want to be seeing if they're trying to be able to get to the top 16 is teams like Team 12-18 in some of those final circles. I think they got themselves like 16 points throughout all this. No team under 16th place wants to see these top teams taking all the points. They want to be able to try and accrue them themselves.
Yeah, it's not nice to see. It's not something you're very happy with seeing, but to be honest with you, I was actually going to make another point there is the fact that on that first page, you did see 12-18, but alongside you saw SNAKEsquad, you saw NASR, you saw a lot of these teams who are trying to, cement their position or try and get into the position, so I was quite happy to see it. And obviously we saw uncharacteristic teams towards the bottom like World of Wonders, we saw Team Umbra with 0 points total. But yeah, so I think that this game you can definitely see. I don't want to say the desperation.
Sure.
You can see a lot of these teams really trying to pull out those last little bits of energy to throw into these league play to get into those finals next weekend. So it is good to see. Unicorns are love making it with 6 points, which means they do have to have that crackerjacker of a game coming up. We'll see if they can make it happen. But again, just not checking their angles. SWAT 69 taking them out early.
Yeah, when you're looking at the early highlights of this game here, John, unfortunately, and we kind of keep harping on it, but it's kind of a common trend now where Unicorns of Love, they're losing people early or losing their entire squad early, but in this game specifically, they lost, I think, 1 or 2 early, which is obviously putting a dent in any kind of campaign that they can try and mount here in the last day.
Yeah, it was 2 players that they dropped early to SWAT 69. They sent all the way down south towards the buildings out to the west of Farm and south on the south coast. Obviously, pretty lucky with the next ensuing circles, right? And that's really what got them the bulk of their points, if we're honest, being able to be in that new area.
4 kill points, 2 plays.
Yeah, but 2 points, they still had to climb up just a little bit, and that's every point matters, especially when you're so far down the tables like Unicorns of Love are right now. They're going to need a real strong game, but they did need to get some points, so every single one of those did count. They got 1 kill back on SWAT 69 early on. I didn't quite track where all of the other 4 points came from, but they still really didn't have the best time. This was such a troll crate, by the way, for El Chapo. He was taking some shots, and then the pink smoke just came straight up into his area.
Yeah, definitely did. And actually, we were talking about this position blank during, whilst we were breaking down the games, and it's a surprisingly strong position, and I'm really sad for him that, he didn't get circles that way, had to come down towards the end, but surprising amount of cover up there and gives you great sight lines.
Circle was like, southeast again, big hard shift. Oh, we're going to go northwest now. And then when El Chapo was like, yes, give me another northwest hard shift. Let's do it. Circle was like, center now. Yes. Everyone go center. You no longer can have this high ground. But that high ground's really important for El Chapo because it's very hard to actually get any shots onto him when he's prone. Like, you can shoot him, but it is almost an impossible angle to take if you are below. And he honestly, even though he only got a few kills from up there, which is still pretty good, by the way. Even though he only got a few kills from that position, he created so much suppressing fire from his team on that side of the map that a lot of teams kind of like shuffled away, shimmied down the sides of banks and little small hillsides where they were away from that firing, which meant SNAKEsquad could get into that circle. There was a few tricky moments for SNAKEsquad going forward where I think things could have gone awry, but we got to hand it to El Chapo, giving them, that almost like action movie suppressing fire to get into the circle itself in the first place.
I just witnessed the final moment there as well, and despite the the X-ray vision being on, it was almost definitely his gun barrel that was bopping up and down slightly to be able to reveal through. Put your gun away now.
The popper gun barrel.
Kind of need that out. Unfortunate there, but a great win nonetheless, and great spotting here from Polar Ace. Let's take a look at the total damage here throughout this game here from our teams, as I think it might be quite even, actually, considering all the shifts. And then I'm completely wrong. SNAKEsquad.
That's El Chapo, though.
Yeah, that's the tower doing some work there, Blank.
Yeah. That's the Chapo Maestro on the top side, you know, just sending those bullets across. Because you can see they only got 9 kills overall, and so, you know, you're looking at a conversion rate around about 1,500 on top of that. So, you know, that's 15 potential kills you could have had. So really for them, I feel like he did a lot of work just keeping people pinned down, using a lot of those meds up. You see that nice Congenials with a 666, but only 1 kill, so not quite devilish. And Team Umbra there with 223 and no kills. Very uncharacteristic of that team. But Polar is going to be very happy with those 11 kills on board. That's going to give them a little more breathing room, but they still have to have one more pop-off game.
Yeah, definitely so. The NaixCongenials actually is one of the teams that's been flying under the radar for the most part, but is still in that top 16 right now, John. And I feel like a lot of their points or distribution is coming from being able to find a decent spot, hold it down, get a decent circles for themselves, and they're making it there. But I feel like maybe they need a little bit more to really rise to the top. What are your thoughts?
I mean, rising to the top is a very tall order, and it's the sort of, you need that perfect storm of qualities, right? You need to be able to make those smart decisions, be able to take the gunfights and win them out, and not only that, but be able to play off the back foot as well. You need to be able to decide to take those coin flips and be pretty happy with the results of them. So, you know, whilst it is very, very important and something that we've talked about quite a lot, especially on Erangel, with rotations, you need those good spots. You need to be able to leverage those. It is also the case, you're right, that you do need to be able to pick up the extra skills that surround it, and that's where teams like Na'Vi shine. That's where teams like Klas, Esports also shine, and where a lot of the teams towards the top of the table shine, well, except for World of Wonders recently.
Yeah, well, let's see who shone brightest here for our top players when it comes to this game, and it will be El Chapo up in his tower. Hey.
There we go.
Not too much surprises there, Blank, all things considered.
No, you can see El Chapo there, towering above most other people. Bandita with 373, and I think, you know, the points that we're seeing here in terms of damage quite indicative of those circles, just because most of the time people weren't holding the finger on the trigger, but rather they were just, you know, pelting it downwards towards these circles on foot or in vehicle.
Yeah.
So much of the time they spent was actually moving or repositioning into the circle, I should say, because honestly, like, you get into the circle, you're expecting yourself, I'm going center, I'm in a pretty decent position, or for a monster, they were on, like, right at the edge. You just get hard shift after hard shift, and you're constantly playing on that back foot. So most of the damage that came through was right at the end of that game, where you saw, I would say, more players than you would typically see in those final circles, just because most other teams have been more focused on getting into them instead of actually taking fights on the way down. Because if you're taking too many fights on those hard shifts, you get caught out in the blue, like Headquarters certainly did, and go down earlier than you might like to.
And good to see Mr. Khalid getting himself another one in terms of the top 4 points here for the players. Let's take a look as well, because over in the world of the World Wide Web, that's right, that was weird, we have the Esports Mobile Games of the Year award currently ongoing here for the Esports Awards 2020, and you can help PUBG Mobile become the victor. All you have to do is head over to esportsawards.com/community vote, and you can get yourself a nice little helping of Esports Awards. Let's take a look at the schedule. We've got 3 more games remaining here for you today. It's Sanhok, Vikendi, and Erangel. So we move into what is a volatile midday session here, John. Sanhok and then Vikendi here for our teams. Everybody's got to have their head in a swivel, head in a swivel.
Absolutely, they need to be checking all their angles on their 6, at the 3, at the 9. Most importantly, the 12, though, because everyone's got to be looking to move forwards to those top 16. So we're looking for those bubble teams to really play. However, we are into Na'Vi time of the day. And on Sanhok, that fragging power is going to be a little bit tricky. It's Sanhok o'clock, but I feel like it's Na'Vi on the clock, right?
Well, I mean, Na'Vi so far, I think they put up about 353 damage total on their one Sanhok game they played with 0 kills. So, you know, Na'Vi might be struggling a little bit more than you might think here. It was one game, yeah, but I don't know. So I think that they rely a lot on rotates and smart play. Honestly, I think Sanhok is one of those maps where it's like you just need to frag out sometimes. Like you say, James, you need to have your head on a swivel. You need to be looking all over the place. But there are some other there are some big names in here, not in terms of like being on the top of the leaderboard, but in terms of needing to get those points on board. I'm looking at Alliance here. They can really cement themselves towards into that top 16. Like this could be their one game that they, this is one game that only need to get into that top 16 and just stay there for the league finals, because you could take a lot of pressure off your back right now in Sanhok if you have a good game here. And the reason I bring up Alliance is because they are such a rotational heavy team. I think Sanhok is going to really prove a big challenge for them, but if they can overcome this hurdle right now, the hurdle in future is going to be much, much lower.
Yeah, either you get yourself a decent mid compound in some of those center circles towards the end, or you're having big fights on the edge. So let's see if a team like Alliance can rise to the occasion. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I'll see you on off, and we will get on to our Sanhok game. But before we do that, go over to the Twitterverse and do your little typies or with your little phone, as well as do hashtag EMEA League, as well as at esports PUBGM. It's 7 o'clock, so let's bring on Maxman and Imperium here to bring us to the jungle as well. Maxman, you kind of inclined with wanting to see Alliance do well here on Sanhok?
I want to do really a big shout out to Alliance as a whole. Like, they are doing really good efforts at the start of this tournament, and now in the later stages, I think they can make it through. But no, Alliance are a team I want to see do really good. But also I want to talk about Bloodline. Like, one of the few Romanian teams in this tournament, 19th position. They're really close. They need to get a good result in the Sanhok game to make it to the league finals.
Well, we've seen that they've been able to take wins. Maybe not on Sanhok, I can't quite recall. But anyway, thank you very much, gentlemen. I'll let you go, and I'll be back in a bit.
All right, thank you very much, Klas. But there you go, Imperium. No, Sanhok, we're talking about teams you want to see perform well, teams that potentially will not do that well, but no, Sanhok is very in the air. Like, we do not know, because it's like the most inconsistent map of them all.
It is unpredictable. I said it before, there is also a way to tame the beast. And you've talked about Alliance. They've struggled on Sanhok in the past. A team that hasn't really struggled on Sanhok is GODSENT. Sanhok has actually been kind of notably one of their strongest maps traditionally, and their team that are currently coming into this game in the 16th spot on 74 points. Based off the predicted cutoff point, all they need is 13 points. But of course, they're going to want to get more.
Sanhok is GODSENT, I would say. So overall, we'll see if they can maybe get some good results into this one. I was going to mention another team is Umbra, but they're not going to be there for that one. So that's a point down the drain, I guess. Alliance, they're going to make their way, of course, towards bootcamp, hoping to not be contested, because if they did, things could go a little bit downhill. But now that you know that they're really looking just great in the standings, they're completely fine to go and do whatever the hell they want. But they're going to go actually very split from each other, as they're going to have, oh boy, pretty central on the map.
Like, the teams that I'm really looking out for, Max, are Force, YaLLa, Alliance, GODSENT, Marines, and Snipers. Those are the teams that I'm looking out for. And as you do see, Alliance are going on to Vibes. Did they send all their players into bootcamp, or just one of their players?
I don't know, I didn't even see them. They literally dropped on top of each other, so I did not even know there was another team in bootcamp until now. But also another fight's going to be happening as Punishers versus Klas Game. Klas Game make it on through, looking really good, currently standing in 3rd position with 0 chicken dinners. What a huge achievement for this team. After, like, what would call maybe a little bit of a weaker first weekend, but like the second weekend, they woke up and they're just absolutely shredding the lobby, which is really good stuff on Klas Game. They were a team at the start of this tournament I was expecting to do well, and they did not disappoint in the second weekend, so really proud of this team.
And they are taking on Punishers, and Punishers are in 31st with a total of 18 points.
Yeah,
so to be fair, they got nothing to lose. So, like, you know, looking at this phase 1 circle, it's gone up north. It is, again, the kind of Sanhok circle we've seen since the update, where it is more in the mainland. There is that little bit of the Northwest Island in play, but overall teams are going to be pretty happy, because it does create far less uncertainty on those rotations and where you kind of want to position yourself. It's hopefully going to give these teams who are fighting for the top 16 spot a little bit more confidence.
I even see myself a Leopard, unfortunately, of Punishers, just very undiluted. They got just cornered up by the side of Klas, so that means that they just couldn't go to like other buildings to loot themselves up. So they must be like, you know, very low loot, very low, maybe even just ammo in general. Not the best weapons in the game. So here it's just seeing Punishers that are completely unprepared for this fight with Klas Game. Doctor's going to go down to a Great Nade of Solace, going to chuck a second one. I find, oh my god, that's twice. He threads the needle. Soulless doing some insane God's work on this game. Though Selim going to push on forward onto Brusque, and Brusque, he's got the DBS. We thought that earlier. He's just not give a damn. We still got one first aid kit potentially in the playoff class game. Spot him out, goes, oh my god, Brusque is making it happen with the DBS. Going to be pushing in through the door, going to put himself in a sneaky position. Once again, I gone back to that, but like they do not have any meds whatsoever. And gets pushed up by Salas with the barrel, and that is going to be it. Punishers will be out in 15th.
We also saw Vibes being taken out, so the 32nd and 31st team have been wiped out of the lobby early on. And let's be fair, that's good for the teams, again, in the middle of the pack, fighting for the top 16, because the less unpredictability with teams who have nothing to lose in the lobby, the kind of maybe more predictable it's going to be for the teams fighting for the top 16 to read the other teams around them, like let's say YaLLa Esports, you know, like the Marines Force. So I kind of, nothing against Vibes and Punisher, but I'm kind of glad the bottom teams have been kind of taken out early, because I feel like it's going to benefit the overall end result.
Yeah, I think it could definitely put a few teams in a better position overall, but Northern side is actually pretty much free. Like from Tap Mark all over to Mong Nai / the northern side of Camp Bravo, there's so much room to go for. And if the circle keeps on going up north, it could be good for a lot of these teams. I think that like Na'Vi, if they just chilling hat in, they might just pick up a boat. They've done that a bunch of times already on Sanhok, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them do that again going into the second game.
YaLLa Esports, they dropped in Paradise Resort. It's the center of phase 1, and we've talked about Paradise Resort as a drop spot, as a location multiple times in Sanhok, and it is a kind of place where staying in there for too long inside these circles is worse for your end game, because you can't really get the information looking from that compound. You really have to kind of disengage away from Paradise Resort, I feel, to kind of, you know, get the information needed to deal with teams surrounding you, especially when it's in the center of phase 1.
Yeah, I just hope that Sniper's not going to get too adventurous and get close to YaLLa, because that's where things could get a little bit, a little bit dangerous, I would say, for them on the long run. Class game thinking of rotating away from their position, but I'm seeing potentially down south specifically, OshTekkwarriors, they dropped onto Bantai, well, mainly into the area next to Cave, and they're going to have to make their way up north. So if the Konina Power hold on to the edge of the circle, you can potentially see a fight break out between Konina Power and OshTekkwarriors. And we know Konina Power Imperium, where they are standing so far on the map. We called it the Konina Mountains. Like, in the scrims, they just, every single time they're there, they literally never die.
And they did this against OshTekkwarriors in the last Sanhok game, or in the first Sanhok game, and actually ended up going against them. So I kind of hope they don't do the same, but we'll have to wait and see.
I'll have to wait and see indeed, but Bloodline, they've been waiting. They had a good old foothold in the circle. They're waiting for the push of class game. Race for himself a nice little initial spray onto Bazzi. Unfortunately, not going to convert it into a knockdown as of yet, but Selim's going to go for the knock onto Allen. And Bloodline slowly falling apart, but so is the case for class game. Those two teams have taken a big fight, and Bloodline, I mentioned it right, 19th position, 64 points. They really just can't afford to go out so early.
Both teams do have an area around them to disengage, but for Bloodline, it's so much more important that they do move away from this team fight, that they kind of cut their potential losses and think about phase 2, phase 3, because, you know, they're in the running. They're coming into this game in 21st on 64 points, but that 64 points means they need 2 strong games.
And make that 66 points right now. Apparently, he might be picking himself another kill onto the side of Klas. And Selim, he's just like, no, it's just not worth it. He's not going to take that fight. I mean, he's currently like, once again, class game. They're looking super comfortable, 3rd position. He'd just be like, oh, you know what? Fuck it.
Yeah, exactly.
Push on Bloodline. Let's go. He doesn't give a damn.
Now, even though I said, look, Bloodline should disengage, I'm all for them taking a risk, because sometimes high risk, high reward, and that would be all credit to them, and it would be kind of somewhat taking control of the game on their side, and they've done that to the point where they've pushed Salem forward, right, and they've automatically created more space. But in that time that we saw them fighting, Marines Force has moved up from the eastern coastal line and are much closer to Bloodline than they were a couple of minutes ago.
I'm going to be mainly focusing on another fight that's happening next to Hatin, and that is potentially Na'Vi versus GODSENT. I mean, GODSENT should know Na'Vi are in Hatin. Just straight up fact. Like, they do your homework, you know Na'Vi drop there. They tend to rotate a little bit slow away from Hatin from time to time. Normally they send a scout, but then they still keep the remaining players in Hatin itself. So GODSENT, I would say just be careful. You're in 15th currently, you're not safe.
No, and to be honest, I get them rotating north. I was thinking maybe they could have gone up the mountainside because headquarters are not in this lobby, so there's automatically a little bit more space on the northwest island. And by utilizing that very high mountainside on that northwest island, they would have been able to maybe get a little bit more core information on Na'Vi first. But the fact that they're not really rotating into the circle just yet, they might be waiting for phase 2 to pop up. That is, in my opinion, relatively sensible in the early parts of this game.
Right, that was maybe the boat that Na'Vi wanted to use later on. There's another bite. They're fine. Na'Vi can share. It's okay. It's okay. The GODSENT going to make it on buy. But Na'Vi, they're not really in position on the coastal line up north where they can really shoot down that boat for GODSENT. So I think that here, the scouting of Reeves already paid off. They got the information. They saw, okay, Na'Vi haven't yet rotated away from Hatin. Let's get into the boat. Rotate up north. And I mentioned it, right? The northern side is completely free. So that's an easy early rotation from GODSENT. I love that.
Also an easy circle shift going a bit down south. It does shrink the northern area that's available, but it's still not the worst thing in the world, and it does give a little bit of respite for the teams down south that they don't have to keep rotating likes of Blaze and Konina Power. But if you notice, there is quite a decent area that's free between Bloodline and Konina Power on that southeast side that OshTekkwarriors around the quarry area and even frag machines down south still in the blue zone could use if they get that information.
They could give it a little bit of a shot if they really want to, see if it's going to work for them. But GODSENT, I'm intrigued to see where they're going to try and stop actually up there. There's so many compounds to aim for, but here's just still the northern side is still completely free for the taking.
It's such a wide rotation though.
They're really being careful because Cal is Cal. Like normally there's always a team in Cal, so just like, no, we don't get close to Cal. That place sucks.
Like I was thinking on that boat rotation, I was a tiny bit hesitant, right? Because I was thinking, are they gonna like rotate too close to Na'Vi? But that like wide rotation, that's like, no. We're good. And hey, that makes sense. And they do have the time to move in as they are gonna hit the mainland.
So we're going to see actually a few shots getting exchanged. IRAQI Elite looking pretty central was the force. They're really close to each other, so that's going to be a position coming out normally really soon. I don't know what you're thinking, Pyram. I have the impression potentially YaLLa are thinking of moving maybe away from Paradise Resort a little bit too late, because if the circle does tend to go like shift away harshly, like they're surrounded by teams, especially in the southern side.
What they should do is they should have one player down the south side of Paradise Resort, as an outside of the actual resort, scouting teams down south, and keep the other 3 members on the north side just to be extra safe, because I think if that one player spots or gets in too much trouble, he can like disengage into the resort and then join up with the rest of his squad relatively safely. And then the rest of his squad can then prepare and position themselves for the teams down south. It's still going to be risky though.
Blaze though going to be assaulting on Konina Power. They initiate with a knockdown to Black White. But though Rob Dinny with a QBZ going to be making that trade-off work okay for them. Blaze, downhill. Seem like they want to disengage. The moment they saw, oh, that's Konina Power on the kill feed. Okay. No, abandon ship.
Well, for Blaze, like, even though they're on 90 points and they're above the calculated safe zone, they still can't, you know, presume. They can't assume. They really can't rest on their laurels. So, you know, they've got that revive up onto Daphne God. I believe they did. No, they didn't confirm that kill, but at least by creating that knock, they automatically kind of created a little bit more space with that disengage. So I think it was overall a success for Blaze Esports.
Yeah. I really like it indeed. I completely agree with your point there, Imperium, because like we did see it for teams like, you know, Alliance, Polar Ace come in from their PMCO. They literally qualified by 1 point. It was that close. And we might see something of similar fashion. It's actually getting really close in the middle of the pack of the standings. So it might actually come down to one team just getting that one kill that did not confirm, and then they regret it later on, and they just get eliminated by 1 point, and one team, they just stole it away. So literally every single point at this stage of the game, at this stage of an esports tournament, is going to have a huge potential underlying impact on your entire you know, performance.
Definitely. And a little bit similar to Game 1, we are seeing a relatively passive early Sanhok game. Now, that's being benefited by the overall clean circles as Phase 3 has popped up and stayed central around Paradise Resort, but that's only going to create more pressure for the metaphorical dam to break that is this PUBG Mobile Sanhok game.
They do have then Kato of YaLLa Esports. He said he wanted one player down south to just scout. He's not going to go outside, which I completely understand because like the terrain is just really harsh. I think the stand inside and on that little cliffside down south of Paradise Resort is just like the better place to really gather that information and feed it to the rest of your team. So I think that here Kato is definitely playing a very, you know, important role for his team of YaLLa Esports.
Yeah. Yeah, sensible game indeed. And this is great for Bloodline as well, to be fair, because they're on the eastern side. They're in the compound. It's low ground, but again, it's away from multiple teams.
Ruder's going to be spotted away. Try his best to just run away from the grasp of the snipers, but the snipers, they do what they do be doing, and that is sniping from a decent range. Where's AR? So I guess it's not really sniping. ARing? They're ARing.
Good try. Good try. ARing. Blaze, they've gone into boot camp, which I think is a little bit weird. I don't think they need to do it, but at least they can kind of maybe get some safe information from bootcamp up the hills where Alliance were previously, but Alliance have moved closer to the center part of this Phase 3, near the Force, near the snipers.
Yeah, normally at this stage of the game, you would potentially still have like a little bit more teams already dead at this stage, right? But like because there's so much tension in the air, you still got just so many players in this one. Sure, it's 52, but no. Still, you can feel that there's some tension over here that a lot of these teams are dealing with, and they just know that if they take any kind of fights, the chances of you getting third-partied right after are huge because teams are easily going to capitalize on those opportunities. So teams are just being very cautious when they rotate and approach different positions.
And even though the kind of circle position, general area of the Sanhok map has benefited Bloodline, that initial kind of aggression on the Klas where they took down 3 members has benefited them even more because when you look at Salem, who's the last remaining player, he's like way far away on the northeastern tip of the circle, and Bloodline have so much area around them.
Yeah, they got a lot of room to work with, which I do like quite a decent amount. But Konina Power, they're the team that down south, they're going to fight potentially with OshTekkwarriors and FRAG Machine, so that's the fight that I'm going to be having my focus on very soon. FRAG Machine spotting out potentially OshTekkwarriors. That is not going to help it if FRAG Machines and OshTekkwarriors fight versus each other, and then Konina Power from the circle position, they're going to actually third party. So here, it would actually work really good for OshTekkwarriors and FRAG Machine to maybe just not go straight center circle, but maybe just try and wrap around, just get a little bit sneaky about it.
And, you know, let's be fair, between kind of FRAG Machines, Konina Power, OshTekkwarriors, and the Force, who we saw on our screens a second ago, the team that kind of has the most to lose is the Force. So they have to really respect their area inside the circle as the next phase is about to pop up.
Just a battle of information mainly. We're going to have then a potential road finish here. It's going to be ending, like, I remember this circle, and I think Kalaris too remembers it. He talked about it actually a few days ago, like the fact that like 12-18, they had just like that huge win where the circle was just gifted to them literally, and they took a win on the more southern eastern edge of Paradise Resort. So, you know, 12-18, they're not here. So which will be the team able to claim that one? IRAQI Elite are looking really good, but I think the IRAQI Elite might have a lot on their plates as a team trying to contest that location for themselves.
I'm thinking YaLLa Esports, right? They're in the Paradise
Also,
Resort. That 12-18 kind of came from to win that game in Sanhok, but we'll have to wait and see as Buju kicks things off by knocking down Robadini.
Yeah, it seemed like FRAG Machine going to be taking that position on Blaze Esports of earlier, but they are not scared to go for the fight, and they're actually able to capitalize and turn that knock into a kill. That's going to be Konina Power now underdone by the amount of players on the other side. Is that a word I do not know? The nades are looking clean, putting so much work onto FRAG Machines, but unfortunately just doing a little bit of tick damage onto Lord. That's all they will find, but Headache and also the entirety of Alliance and Blaze are taking a huge fight versus each other, while FRAG Machines, Ralph going to get those smokes, pushing as well forward. Nice nade coming out from the other side of Konina Power, but Ralph will not be able to make it any further than that smoke, as Konina Power just like, nah, get the hell out of here, this fight's not worth it. That's Blaze Esports, huge upset over here, actually taken out by the Alliance team.
Yeah, they kind of got punished by the Alliance. Snipers came into third party, but now the Alliance have to look towards the snipers as FRAG Machines push their way up and try to put more pressure onto Konina Power.
You know, I said it, I thought Konina Power were going to be actually gatekeeping OshTekkwarriors and FRAG Machine, but they're actually working together to dominate the opposing side of Konina Power. They really lost themselves 2 players down to Acer, and also the boy that is Black White. But they're in a shack right now. If just one player of Frag Machine or one player of OshTekkwarriors get close enough, they're going to chuck the nades, force Konina Power out of that building, and they're going to get absolutely mowed down. So here, Konina Power, they're in a really sticky position. I do not see them coming out on top of this fight. And also, though, Frag Machine actually put a lot of smokes over here, which I think is maybe not working in their favor. They're denying themselves a lot of visibility. Oh, no, the grenade! Black, white, no, jump away, dude. Oh my god, don't ever do that again. Oh...
The snipers have been eliminated. The Alliance are up to multiple kills, I think 6 or 7 in this game so far as Frag Machines push onto Konina Power.
Okay, I was a little bit scared because Frag Machine would deny himself visibility with those smokes, but seemed like they were able to actually use it in their favor and deny vision away from Konina Power. Nade's going to be coming. Was that self-nade from his teammate? Ace naded away Black White. No! I'll take him out myself, but that's going to be Konina down to 1 player. It's going to be Acer.
Yikes.
Surrounded by OshTekkwarriors and also Frag Machine players. How's he going to move away from this one? Here, the Snake player might just be the viable option for him.
GODSENT are getting very close to Bloodline inside that compound that is now outside the circle. You have the last remaining player, Salem, and Marines force so much area as they move into the circle, but Asus gets dropped to the ground by Rolkus.
GODSENT literally pinned. They're surrounded by the blue zone behind them. They got a huge road in front of them. And the only way to do so is by taking that fight over to Bloodline. And GODSENT, Bloodline, 2 teams that are currently fighting to make it and remain in the top 16. This fight is going to have a huge underlying impact on the 2 of these squads and the remaining sides of the standing. But look at that. Top 4 players in terms of frags are all Alliance, Imperial. They're all Alliance.
11 kills so far for Alliance. That's double digits, baby, on a map that they're not notably strong at least from what we've seen in the scrims in the EMEA League so far. But these EU teams, the GODSENT and Bloodline, they're trading nades.
We've got Marley forward. I said that though the blue zone's going to be in forward. They're going to cross over the road 1 by 1, but they're not getting pressured up. They're not getting punished by Bloodline. This is a big surprise to me. Spazzy is Allen, left as a 2-man squad. They're going to try and regroup back as a 2-man team to use it and just concentrate their firepower in one good old sneaky little package. But unfortunately for them, it's going to be a hard one. The blue zone's going to be on the players of GODSENT. GODSENT Marley's going to be taken down by the blue, but GODSENT picking himself an extra knock onto Bazzy. Down to now only 1 player is going to be Allen. He's spotted away. They can spray also underneath the building if they want. Allen's going to go down. Bloodline eliminated by GODSENT. This is huge. And GODSENT, we know they do good on this map of Sanhok, and they're doing it once again as Alliance. We said it, we're already double digits, and they're up to 12 right now. They're going to be mowing down the opposition, going downhill, picking himself Pujo from the Force. What is this Alliance? I've never seen them play like this before, but I'm loving it.
Bloodline in 21st out. The Force in 25th out. Oh my god, this is the end of this game. Navi is out, and all the while the circle shifts up, and this was the dam that I was talking about. This is the metaphorical dam that has been broken, and whoever survives in the tricky waters of Sanhok is going to come out on top, and right now, it's Alliance.
There you go, Alliance, you're fine. You make it. You qualify. You qualify. You got to stop. There you go. They're dying, but they're good. Alliance still take himself 13 kills, 10 kills though, over to IRAQI. I said though, right in the middle of that game, that they were in a position that could be heavily contested, but because there were so many roads around them and so many downhill slopes, they could just really take all the kills that are coming towards them. They did so, they're already up to 8.
Also, this is a great game for Marines Force and YaLLa. 2 of the teams that are fighting for that top 16. The other teams around them have kind of been taken out bar GODSENT, but GODSENT are under pressure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really going to be putting my focus onto Marines Force. Like, they're currently in 17th position. They're barely hitting that top 16. Yep. They need to get some good results. They need to take a big win. So, really, best of luck to them. We see Ruder then. Hey, man, Ruder, he's sick. But he's doing also sick plays. I got to tell you that much. God damn.
Oh, now Marines Force, only 1 kill on the board. Final 5 teams. YaLLa go down at the hands of GODSENT. And it may have been the Alliance show at the start of the game, but now it could be the GODSENT show.
Sally of IRAQI Elite take himself a bunch of knocks also onto GODSENT. The blue zone's right there. The nades are going to be flying through for Marines Force while Selim of Klas Games just waiting in the shadow. So WildCats will go down. The blue zone will be as I'm doing with the rest of IRAQI Elite. IRAQI Elite, what a performance this game. But Marines Force, that's the team, that's the underdog of Kalaris. He's hoping they're potentially going to be doing well into this one. As Selim, the blue zone's going to take his life eventually. But Marines Force showing their back over. Maybe Selim can find a sneaky frag or 2 onto the Marines Force team.
GODSENT went out, but they went out with 6 kills plus those placement points. That should leave them in a good note.
It's like, hey, I can die in peace now. I did what I was supposed to do. My purpose has been fulfilled. And that's going to be enough Klas Game out in 3rd position. Still, this weekend is Klas Games weekend. But Marines Force, they had 1 player knocked away. Going to go for the res behind the terrain. Going to be a nice even 4v4. Reminds me of what we had on game number 1 yesterday with Navi versus GODSENT. But the circle is unfortunately not in favor of Marines Force. They've got to go downhill one by one. They've got a few trees to work around. Sure, it should be fine, but IRAQI Elite, they are not going to allow Marines Force to go for that rotation. They want to punish every single movement that's a little bit off place. The utility is good uses from Marines Force, but unfortunately by doing so, they're also losing their own information. The sprays are coming on through from IRAQI Elite. Marines Force are just losing their footing in this game. They're finding a third knockdown. That's going to be kill number 16 going their way. And Marines Force really will not be taking this game. It will be over to IRAQI Elite. Joker going to go for the last second first aid kit. And he will be going down eventually. Marines Force still sprayed down by IRAQI Elite, but IRAQI Elite will be... Come on, Ragnar, come on, dude. You're pushing too far. That's what we call being over-aggressive.
Joker, he's healing up. Can he continue to stem?
Damn!
Man, it was just like, what a crazy game overall, right? We had like Alliance coming up with, I think, 12 kills. We had IRAQI Elite getting 16 kills. We had GODSENT getting a good result with 6 points plus placements, and we have Marine Force getting second place, I think, with only 3 kills. So, you know, there's definitely going to be some obvious shifts, but I do feel that the likes of the Force and the Snipers, they might have lost their chance to make it into the top 16.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard for them. Still really good stuff, but like Marines Force, Kalaris, like they're doing pretty good on this game. What do you think?
Yeah, not too bad. They were one of my wild cards coming into the EMEA League in general, and maybe if they get a little bit more, they can push themselves up into that top 16. But this game, Imperium, felt very reminiscent of our first Sanhok game in the EMEA League. Very close to Paradise Resort in those compounds.
Yeah, it was, but I think it was like compared to that first Sanhok game, we had way more teams and players left when it hovered around that Paradise Resort area, so it got pretty damn crazy.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We'll get you back for Vikendi after this, and then our final Erangel here for the day afterwards. Let's bring on the analysis, gentlemen. We have Mr. Gentleman John and Bloke Blank. It's time here to get...
Bloke Blank?
Bloke.
What?
I don't know. You know what?
Down the local.
I throw out everything and see what sticks. Maybe not that one. We'll see. He's okay.
Okay, fine.
Don't worry.
What was that? That was me imitating James, just tossing things out there, you know?
That was the anime version of me doing that. But anyway, let's move on to the scores coming in from the Sanhok game and see what's what. IRAQI Elite, 31 points. They were already in the top 16, John, but I think with this, very comfortable now.
Yeah, 31 points should see them pretty safe into the top 16. You're right, but I said before the game as well, I was looking at GODSENT to sort of try and push themselves, have a good game. 14 points should be enough to see them, as I said, pretty safe as well. They've got another game yet to go as well, as every other team in the lobby, but they've still got more points to be able to get, and that's great for them. They should be able to push themselves over the boundary and then make the top 16, make it to the finals.
Here's the kicker, is that we start our Sanhok by saying, oh, Alliance might have a little hard time rotating on in and stuff like that. And then Blank, all of a sudden, they get 13 kills. So...
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I said this is a challenge they need to overcome.
Yeah.
Did it fantastically. They came in, they were like, this challenge too easy for me. I'm going to solve this puzzle in 2 seconds flat. I need 2 placement points. I'll take the 13 kills. Thank you very much, sir. I mean... Honestly, for me, though, them coming into that circle was fantastic. I mean, like, obviously, they were coming down from the northwest, and things got tricky, and I think they realized this, that, like, we're not making it to end-to-end game, so let's just try and kill as many teams as possible, as many players as possible, and they end up with 13 points. In the end, obviously, Marine Force DE become a problem for them, but yeah, I'm really happy with Alliance's performance here, and this game actually pretty much is enough to get them into that bubble now, and they really just need to have a semi-decent game going forward. Even like a 5-pointer would probably do the trick.
And they started on a high to begin things anyway. Boot camp was contested. They took out Vibe 6 there, John. And from there, it really feels like, especially when you get some of those earlier kills, are able to kind of get that feather under your cap. Alliance was feeling it from the beginning.
Yeah, it's good snowball mechanics coming through on the mental game. It's good to see that they're able to utilize that. But as I always say, after those strong games, you do have a pause. You have a little bit of a break, and that sometimes can come back to bite you. If you settle down after that adrenaline rush of being that final team, you're going to be able to clinch it out. You're in the final circles. Even if you don't win, there's still that sort of feeling that you have to come down from, and you have to be able to reset. And that is where that's the difference between the top of the tables and being in those sort of 10th to 16th place, right? That's the ability of a team to be able to take the wins and just be like, cool, great, good job, guys. Let's go next, and be able to, convert on those.
Yeah, I mean, even when you're looking at these nades as well, he comes around the corner and gives a little cheeky pre-fire just in case. And I love seeing that kind of thing, Blank. It's not like, yes, okay, technically he hit nothing, and technically he wasted a few bullets, but I'd rather do that and be damn sure that the entire fight is cleaned up than come around and just be like, oh no, I'm dead. It's nice to see.
Oh no! I think that especially when we're playing third person as well, a lot of these fights are determined by who pre-fires better than the other teams.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of teams are in the habit of pre-firing now anyway. Most teams have to get very, very good at predicting when someone is going to move out from a building. And a lot of these hardcover fights become a little bit of a game of cat and mouse, or who's going to peek first? Are you going to peek first? Am I going to peek first? I'm not sure. But for those times, yes, it is always good to confirm it rather than take your chances, especially here on Sanhok, where you want to get things done as fast as possible and then move away, reposition, because you do not want to be in that same location. Oh, now that's just rude.
I guess, yeah, you can do that if you want.
Mummy moves right there. That's fantastic dancing. Right. I'm a big fan. Yeah.
Not too bad in the slightest. Wear the mummy suit or the mirror ball suit. Makes you blend in with those little smokes. I like it a lot.
Can you do that dance there, James? Can you give us a little rendition?
I don't know. It was like, I don't know what it was. Anyway, I'm not a dancer.
Add some moves.
No, not me. Let's take a look at the total damage quickly and get out of this segment as fast as possible so I don't have to dance anymore. Let's do that. Maybe it'll be Sanhok numbers, 1,700s. Any 1,700s? No, a little bit higher. Ooh. Some nice.
You tried. I thought you would go somewhere different there, James, but you disappointed me today.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Talk to me about the numbers, Blank, since I've disappointed you.
I will talk to you about the numbers here. So IRAQI Elite 2000 Alliance are similar. So it feels like these teams were kind of like bulldozering there through this map, just absolutely battering any team that came anywhere near close. I thought that Konina Power would do better, and 277 does feel like a little bit weird to me, especially when they were coming down from the bottom of the map, southeast side. They had like a pretty clear trajectory in and only gained 277. We saw that fight they've had between themselves, which was just kind of messy. So it was a little bit upset.
Yeah, a little bit of flopping around, I suppose, from the Konina Power, Mr. John.
Yeah, and they have had better performances, they've had worse performances as well. Super efficient damage dealing, by the way. They're from IRAQI Elite. They were, I think, only 200 short on the 1 to 100 damage rating that we sort of look for in terms of how efficient they're being there. And a lot of those were accrued in the final circle in terms of that efficiency. Normally you see that's where you get a couple of knocks, and then they get rezzed. You do them again, you have to keep going. But in terms of bullets for kills, they're doing really bloody well on that one. But what about the snipers?
What about them? Yeah, it's looking a little bit rough for them, and we even heard Imperium actually mentioning it's going to be a little bit rough for them here throughout stuff.
Oh, Imperium did.
Them say so. He did mention them. Yeah. Let's take a look at the top players. See who is able to shine on Sanhok. We have Stella, we have Ruda, Ali, and Headache here. Just it's been a great performance for Alliance, all things considered. They've really stepped up when they needed to here, Blank, to get themselves to a much better position. Just need a few more here and there.
Yeah, I can't confirm this information, but I was told that Ruda was feeling a little bit ill recently, which is why they might not be playing as a full squad, which I thought they might get a sub in, but he's doing 814 damage, so I don't know.
Feeling great.
Maybe make him more ill, basically, because he's doing sick.
I don't know. Yeah, it's 2020. I don't know if I want to make people ill.
Yeah, okay. Medicate him ASAP.
We wish all of our players the best health.
Yes.
We're just ribbing. But anyway, before we have to get into our Vikendi and then Erangel, of course, we can check in with more of these players here from the EMEA League as we ask them some quick-fire questions.
Which non-EMEA region would you most want to play against?
Footballist. China region أكيد.
I think it's a Chinese team, so like NaixCS, Norway Esports, 4 EM.
It will be China, sure.
أمريكا أفضل. الفرق الأمريكية ضد الفرق الأمريكية.
Chin.
CIS.
Sería estilo Warwick. Todo Sudamérica, Norteamérica, todos juntos.
آسيا.
هرواني روسك بمن سكا زيدك نزول زيدك نواني شياريان باشا.
Китаем.
What would it mean for you to qualify for the 2020 Global Championships?
It's a very big dream, and everyone hope to reach this level. It would mean a lot to me, and I think for my teammates as well, because we worked hard for that. So it would mean actually a lot.
هيك بكون حققت أكبر أحلامي بالحياة.
A new achievement.
Sería volver a tener la ilusión de otro presencial más y recompensa de los chicos por todo el esfuerzo que venimos haciendo durante un año entero.
خلنا نفهم دوي براستي أو أكاديمية بدأت هنا.
تخشش الزور.
How would you explain your team's preferred style of gameplay?
Aggressive play.
لا احنا بندافع شوية وفي آخر الزون لو الزون قافلة في حيث مكان يعني لازم نهجم عليه.
It's aggressive play style. We like to put aggression on the teams and to dominate them.
Aggressive.
هو حسب الحالة بس يعني التحويل من طريقة الدفاع إلى الهجوم.
Strategic. Tactical aggressive.
Agresivos.
اللي صرخوا بتكتيك واللي كتير تدقين.
نارا استوخو. هم اشتغلنا كوا.
Умная агрессия.
What is your preferred weapon loadout?
Combo, AKM and M4.
AR and SMT.
M4 and Uzi.
AK-47 and M4.
I think M4 for the middle and long range.
M262.
I'm 7.62.
AKM M4.
M4.
M4 20 سكة.
Мое любимое оружие это ДП-28.
I've been around a little while, but never when I've been doing an interview have I ever had someone just make a noise as a reply to a question. Blank, how did that feel? It's funny.
Honestly, I did a lot of interviews on that day, so there were some interesting ones in there, and I was okay with it. Honestly,
Yeah.
I was like, yes, this is a good answer. I've received worse.
That's the answer I want. Fantastic.
Yeah.
We've got Vikendi coming up here next, which is the answer that everybody wants coming up for our next battleground, of course. Here to see how our groups are going to fare. It's going to be A and D, John, going into their final Vikendi, one of their final opportunities. In fact, actually their final opportunity to get points on the board. So what are we thinking?
Yeah, well, again, it's still Na'Vi time, and we know that their rotations, they're pretty reliable, pretty strong, and on Vikendi, they are pretty linear, and they're pretty sort of, they're by the book, right? I talked about this the other day, how you have just those single focal points along the path. So hopefully Na'Vi are going to have a good showing here. We've seen that the only other Vikendi map that they have played, they won. So we'll see if they're able to repeat that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good showing in that small sample size of one game.
I'd say that's pretty good, right?
They won it. Yes, that's not too bad at all. And just aside before we get into this game, it's been fun having you guys on the analysis desk. I think it's your guys first, and no, not yours, John, because we did Berlin back in the day. But Blank, it's been your first analysis desk, I think, right?
It is. This is our baby to the analysis desk. It's been fun. I feel like I've grown up slightly as an analyst, but it's been good. Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Grown up? What does that mean?
Look how good I am now. Thank you. Thank you, Papa Host.
What? All right. Anyway, we're getting into the game, gentlemen. Thank you very much. I'll see you in a few. Yeah, you go away too, John. Go on. And of course, over on Twitter, you can join us with hashtag EMEA League as well as at Esports PUBGM. Let's bring on our commentators for the Tundra. Scary and frightful here with a lot of snow. We've got Maxman and Imperium ready to go. Hey, I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. Imperium, looking forward here to our final Vikendi for the group stage.
So excited. This is really what it all comes down to. I know this is every team's last chance to grasp that top 6 but for 4 teams in particular, SWAT 69, NASR, GODSENT, and Marines Force, man, It's do or die.
They need the points. They do. All right. Well, without any further ado, I can't talk. You know what? Bye.
It's fine. It's fine. Thank you very much, Klas. But yeah, the Tundra is going to be on our menu, Imperium. And you mentioned a few of these teams who can try and perform well, but you know, I'm going to go with John. I'm going to just follow the mass and just say no. 100% win rate on Vikendi seems pretty good.
That's fair, but I'm looking at GODSENT because I was talking to Reeves yesterday, and he was feeling confident. He's never not confident, to be fair, but he was feeling confident, he was feeling calm, and look, I said to him, look, play your own game, be adaptable to a situation, but play your own game and look to get a strong, like, kind of first game performance in Sanhok, because that will set you up and take less pressure off you in the game too, especially because you don't play the final game. And I think they've done that relatively successfully to the point where they're now looking in 15th with 88 points. That is in theory above the cutoff point, but I don't think that's enough. I do believe they need a good 5 to 7 points.
Does Reeves have like a really hard Irish accent, or is it like just slight?
It's a Dublin accent, and it's not too dirty of a dirty accent. It's actually
like yours.
Quite clean. I can understand them, and yeah.
Hospital Imperium. Ooh. Okay, this circle is well, not great for the teams because not too many teams drop up northeast. So this is actually going to be a lot of teams having to rotate really early on to find a decent spot. God damn.
And I would say this kind of circle is good for GODSENT because they're the kind of team in Vikendi that have no problem playing in the blue zone, phase 1, phase 2. They will rotate on the edge. Now, the fact that they have IRAQI Elite in this Volnova area isn't potentially going to be too bad for them because they're used to dealing with the likes of Konina Power around this area. But of course, they don't want to lose this fight, right? They don't want to go down early. They will still have to tread with a lot of caution, especially because Marty is actually on the other side of the river.
Yeah, they've got to definitely keep that in mind a little bit. Alliance already set himself this scrim up top to just scout because, like, okay, this circle's not actually ready for us, so we're just already going to start scouting it since the very start, right off the drop. As, oh, okay, wait. Go for early shots on Rashida. He wasn't able to find it, though, so, you know, that's very unfortunate for Easy or YaLLa Esports, but, hey, you know what? Could happen. We saw one happen in PMWL East. I would like to see one again one day, just an instant drop.
That would be so nice to see. It's also nice to see that Marines Force are respecting the fact that, they've a few teams around them that they do need to be very careful on the drop spot, the looting phase, because again, like the likes of GODSENT, they're in 16th place on 83 points. They're not above the predicted cutoff point, and they are, of course, so close to 17th on they're 7 points ahead, and that's going to be achievable for fastPay in the last game.
I was so surprised. I was like, wait, can't I hear anything? And then I put I just realized I didn't put the audio on, so I thought we had some Dyson M4s, like a silent mode.
There's suppressors, and then there's
really efficient suppressors. Hamco, they're going to be spotted away for GODSENT, a team that you wanted to really highlight, Imperium, that has the chance of making on through. Fighting versus IRAQI Elite here. IRAQI Elite, last game, Sanhok took himself a chicken dinner, really dominant overall. But now, can they do a back-to-back winning on two maps that have completely opposite styles of gameplay? I'd like to see, because IRAQI Elite did definitely surprise me in that last game.
Yeah, that's true, and they performed well, and it justifies their position in the overall standings. They've had a fantastic run in the EMEA League. That's, make no mistakes about that. It's just when we're looking at, the teams that are hovering in the middle of the pack, in the standings, they have to be cautious, careful, and on point with any engagement throughout this game.
Got to be calculated, but Bayat, I have no idea how he got in this position. But you know what? Still, he's just going to snake it on through. But Rap GSG, they're currently in 29th position. This is their final game. Can they do it? I don't really think so. Mathematically speaking, they can't. Exactly. So it's not even, I think. My opinion does not matter whatsoever. As the sniper's going to get a little bit closer, though. They're very spread in the open, though. Huh.
Yeah, and we saw in the feed that Reese got knocked down with a molly for the side of GODSENT by IRAQI lead. So something they have to be careful of. Marty did move over to the Volnova area, so that's pretty good. And another team, hey, you know, I didn't feature them in my 4 teams, but if they can take out Navi, it's not looking too good right now, then it definitely could maybe breathe a little bit of life in their fight.
They got 67 points. Like, they need... Second position was a lot of kills, or Chicken Dinner was a few kills to shut up for it. That is going to be giving them a chance, but unfortunately, fighting versus Navi is definitely not going to help your cause. That's a straight-up fact, as they're going to be having 2 of their players actually suffering early.
They need a Klas 20-kill game, to be fair. You know, that's exactly what they need. But with only Sandro left standing, it doesn't look like it's going to be that way. They've got 0 kills. They're rotating down the Mount Kresnik area on the southwestern edge of the circle. And, yeah, this could spell the end for the Unicorns a lot.
This is a weird fight. Like, how it's just positioning of everyone is really intriguing. And Delete is going to go for the knock. And Vodka, he should not stay, like, really peeking for that long without moving. You're making himself a really easy target. Snipers, 3-man team. Vodka knocked away. Sniper's going to have AMR actually pushing out of that fight, as Citizen X going to find himself in a 1v1 versus Farhan of Arab GSG. And maybe waiting for the cavalry to really join up, as here it is. The push of Farhan is going to be happening inside the barn. The barn play will not go in favor of Citizen X. Farhan will pick that one up. And that's still Arab GSG looking good as a 4-man team. Going to have to go for a res eventually, but the Sniper's like... I don't know, this is really weird. And here it is. He was snaking here this entire time. He peeks out the team, they're in the smoke, going to go for the spray, denies that res away. There was a Thompson, explodes the car. Okay, that's the way to do it, I guess, and there you have it. Snipers still got 2 players, AMR and Thanos. This has to be the weirdest early game fight on Vikendi I've seen.
I don't know, I don't get why Bayat, like, kind of, you know, got back up and started running so early, right? He could have left until the very edge of the road. Yeah, he made himself too obvious. I get he was trying to catch them out, but yeah, man, you got to leave it until the perfect moment, and that didn't come about.
Clean, Farhan, clean. You're going to get traded away by Thanos. And this fight is actually taking a really long time.
It is. It is.
Arab GSG, if they got some utility, it would be pretty easy to just chuck a good grenade behind that car and find the double knocks.
Wow.
Man, there's random sprays of AMR. God damn, like he's just got like Spidey sense was tingling and just guessed it. Nice bloom spray, but now especially need Thanos to join up on your position eventually to take this fight towards Arab GSG. They got 2 players that can't go for the res. Zora's going to get picked away, and the Snipers take the fight. The Snipers, by the way, Imperium, a team that can actually qualify if they get a huge performance on this 3rd game today, so they are really requiring their best game yet.
No, I'm gonna say they're.
I think they're out.
Yeah, no, I do think they're out. I'm sorry, because I think it's so close.
I don't believe.
You know, if I get that you want to believe, but I just, with every other team, you know, close together, I just think they're just not going to be able to. But hey, I'm always open to being proven wrong. Talk about being proven wrong. Phase 1 closing up, coming into Phase 2. Am I going to be right or wrong on the circle shift? I think it's going to stay up north with a good 50% water.
Will he be the Irish Ocean, or will he not? That is what we're going to be seeing very soon.
Atlantic Ocean.
Maybe the Irish Ocean, because like, okay.
Well, Ireland doesn't own it.
Hey, you know what? I won't do the ocean joke anymore. There you go. You lost it. You messed it up for yourself, Imperium. You're not ocean. There you go.
Oh, yeah. I see what you were doing. Oh, my God. I didn't even get that joke.
It's too late. It's too late. It's too late.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It's also too late to apologize. It's too late. Anyway,
how do you...
It's been a long time.
I'm at a loss for words. And I'm a caster. I'm not supposed to be at a loss for words, but Imperium, that's what you do.
It's been a long time since I've been kind of, you know, randomly singing on cast. But Marines Force, they're still in Dobro Mesto. It's a wise choice because they need to play safe. NASR Esports, another team, something similar, but they are in a completely different situation because they are at the very north coastal line with last game above them.
I mean, in NASR, like, okay. Moving with a pan in the open, you're asking to get shut down eventually. You got to go quick, you got to be swift, you got to go fast through that compound, and they unfortunately lost one of their players instantly. Maybe people in the chat was on the stream maybe thinking, wait, why are people moving with a pan? Because it does less sound. But you're literally not close to a compound. Like, you should have just ran it over to scout a position. But in NASR, they can't also get into the boat because Silas is up top. Like, what? We have 2 weird fights happening in the early. Like, how do people get in this position?
Well, NASR got into that position because I believe they took a boat onto the coastline. But maybe, and I didn't quite, you know, see when they rotated, but I can possibly imagine that they either rotated too late or in the wrong position, because they should know that Klas like to drop in this area. And again, they're already qualified. So yeah, it's all good in the hood for Klas. They're gonna take these risky fights.
It's bad in the hood for NASR right now. Like they could have easily dropped on the coastline of Peshkova. Like that, we know as a fact that no teams dropped towards the postal line of Peshkova or Trevno itself, so I think that would have been a more viable option. But NASR now, they're just like fishies caught into a net. They can't do anything. Finds a few nice shots onto Satan. Satan going to try and make it away. The spray not connecting for Sunlight just yet. But we got to say, Imperium, that NASR, right, they're currently in 18th position. If they die now, their chances of making it to the league finals are done. They're gone.
Exactly. It's now or never. It's do or die. I would say their backs are against the wall, but their bodies are against the cliffside more than anything. And again, Klas have no problem taking this fight because, you know, they can be a bit narrow-minded. They can be a little bit wild, and it's going to be fine for them. But as teams are starting to shift, we did see that phase 2 pop up. It was a little bit right on my side, but it is a bit more mainland than I expected on that phase 2.
Yeah, World of Wonders already qualified for the league play. IRAQI, because of that last performance round on the Sanhok, they're actually just going to be just cementing their position in that top standing of the top 16. So really this fight doesn't have too much of an issue, but still we'll see if World of Wonders can try and potentially snatch away that top 1 position away from Navi and remain up there. As the push is going to be happening, IRAQI Elite will be out, and that'll be chicken dinner after that 14th position. A little bit up and down, but IRAQI Elite, they're all good in the herd, as you just said.
Yeah, 5th place they came into this game with, so they'll stay on the same point amount, 118 points in total. Looking at Marines Force, now they're starting to move into the circle, and we'll have to wait and see if that rotation does work out for them. And if you notice, can I just say, Marines Force went from Dobro Mesto to Cement Factory, because I was looking at them going, wait, where are they on the western? They rotated all the way across the map. All the way across the map. I like
scouting. Yeah, scouting. I think it was really well executed. They pulled that off like really early on too, which I think is great to see. But SWAT 69 and Unicorns of Love clashing. Unicorns are out. Blank. I'm sorry. The ponies will not gallop to the finish line, and that is going to be the end of their venture in the EMEA League.
The 14s that I did feature are still in the mix, right? GODSENT, Marines, SWAT 69 and NASR. But one thing to note is that SWAT 69 only joined the lobby with 1 player. I don't know exactly what happened there, but that's a bit of a feels bad man indeed, as we do see the likes of Navi and 1218 converging around the edge of Cosmodrome.
Yeah, but 1218 actually pushed himself very far forward out of position. They could offer a few angles over to Navi, and as I said, that an angle will be found by Tixi, and he's waiting. Zakonivore, unfortunately, the headshot will not come on through. That surprise factor has now been lost. Tixi going to try and potentially reposition, but no, actually, going to go for the spray once again. Zakonivore just wanted to abandon ship and move back inside of Cosmodrome, which I think would be the best option for 1218, because, as I said, it a little bit too far forward, might offer a few different angles to Navi to take those shots and those knockdowns.
There's plenty of space on the south side of the circle, as the next phase is about to pop up between Cosmodrome and World of Wonder on the edge of this phase 2. Marines Force have stayed on the coastline, going past Peshkova, which you mentioned would have been a great stopping point for NASR on their boat rotation.
Yeah, but they're happy that Klas actually moved away. So NASR, maybe not the end. They can maybe still try and reclaim a few points in this game and make it back into the top 16. It's still going to be pretty hard after losing 2 of your really valuable players. Alliance got a little bit of a high ground position. They hear the footsteps of Silas down below, but they just can't peek onto Silas because Raze and the rest of Klas are in the compound far away. It makes it really hard if they peek. Headshots shall be in swing for the side of Klas. So Alliance need to really diminish the numbers of Klas in the compound up ahead. Then they can potentially eliminate Silas down below. But they're just struggling on finding those angles because Klas, they're peeking just so well on those fights.
They're peeking really well. They're utilizing the wall and the low ground to an advantage, as you spoke too soon.
Yeah, jinxed it. No, it's the caster's curse. I'm so sorry, guys. But at the end, now because they did diminish the players on the other side in that compound, they can go for the push on Salas. Besides, just going to go rung around the Rosie. Picks up almost 1 knockdown onto Sunrise. Now they find it. Alliance losing himself. Only 1 player is going to be discrim in that engagement, sell him around that wall. Unfortunately, playing defensively is the best option around those walls, but now they're actually retreating inside. So sell him now. They're just getting pressured and pinned down by the team of Alliance. And they're kicking it off just like they did on Sanhok, right? Like going hyper-aggressive from the very start of the game, taking it towards a team like Klas. They don't give a damn about your, emotions and feelings. They're going to destroy you all the same.
Yeah, but Solus has turned this around. He's got 3 knocks onto the members of the Alliance. It is a 2v1. How quickly Klas have turned this around.
I was monologuing for so long, I did not even realize that Ruda is getting also taken down, and that is going to be it. World of Wonder's going to go for the third party. Alliance will end up being eliminated in 12th. So, yeah, big surprise overall. I thought the Klas had that one in the bag, but apparently not. And yeah, that's a double caster curse right there. My bad.
Yeah, it's all good. It did look good for Alliance. They pushed it kind of the right time, but they didn't cover the angle of a Solus. Solus picked them off, and yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah, Smoke Rose would have made that a little bit easier. But World of Wonder's not only fighting class game now. 12-18, and they're like, oh, 2 teams. This spells business. Not good business. Get into the car, let's move away, let's find a better position. I like it. The Cosmodrome finishes Imperium. We have yet to have one. Phase 3 circles to ask Cosmodrome, he could end up over there, could be really good, but 12-18, they already started moving away because they know that Cosmodrome, as a one-man team, is just not worth holding on to for the 12-18 CIS team.
And this is great for GODSENT because they're coming in from the south side. They've now exited the blue zone. They're much closer to the edge of the circle. They did lose Reeves early on. It was a confirmed kill, but at least on their area inside the circle, once they get that information, they'll be confident that, hey, we're looking good.
That kind of a great rooftop play. The rooftop meta of Vikendi is still under play. Selim going to catch up over to Solus. They're going to be back, potentially going for the res boost onto Raze, but Zakonivor is going to confirm that kill, not allowing that res to come on through. Man, Zakonivor is just pushing this solo for 12-18. Like, he's just like, yeah, sure, I'll go 1v3. Easy, dude, easy.
And it was confirming the kill at the risk of getting knocked down, but he survived.
Oh my god. Also, YaLLa Esports on the top northern side of Cosmodrome. They got a really decent spot too. Hoping the circle, of course, goes in their favor, but I think that here they got a really big potential game ahead of them. So YaLLa Esports definitely to keep in mind. Circle is about to shift. Where will it go? Will it go water once again, as you mentioned, Imperium earlier? Still have a little bit of water, but Cosmodrome is still in the circle.
And you mentioned YaLLa Esports. It was a great position because it wasn't too close to the coastline, and it's the high ground to the north of Cosmodrome. So now they can, pick their rotation or stay where they are based on the information they've extracted in the last 3 minutes.
It's breaching time. 12-18 knocking on the door and just tearing it down. Soul is going to be knocked out. 12-18 still has a 4-man team, losing absolutely no one, but taking some pretty significant damage. Some clutches could happen on the side of Klas, but as I say that is not going to be the case. 12-18 will eliminate Klas game in 11th, but they were all good in the herd once again. You said it once and I say it all the time. They're all good in it. There you go. I like it. I think it's a good sentence.
It's okay. It's okay. You're allowed. I steal enough of your phrases and your words. You're allowed to steal mine. Feel free to use easy peasy lemon squeezy as well if you want.
I already do that.
I know, but more often.
Good. I'm also I'm like Imperium's meme manager. I just give him a few files, learn them by heart, and then you can do them on cast.
It's so true. Like, he just feeds me meme content, and I absorb it as much as I can, and then spit it out during broadcasts.
Exactly. But OshTekkwarriors now slowly gonna. That was actually a really late crossbred section from OshTekkwarriors. A little bit scary, actually, I would even say, because it did delay that rotation until the very, very late stages. But OshTekkwarriors seem like they're going to be able to do so. They rotate pretty nice and easy. But no, overall, they're in 8th position. They can allow themselves to be a little bit more comfortable.
And Marines Force, we saw them on our screens. Excellent rotation on the eastern side of the map. They've benefited from the fact that NASR are a bit scared coming in from the very coastal line where they haven't really been able to get any information at all. But either way, so cleanly executed from Marine Force, and they have so much space around them. But they've got to think about the next phase, because over to the west, you have that kind of hill/cliffside where they're not able to get as much information where they are now.
Well, 69, this is a team that is in contestment for this position, and as I say that, I keep jinxing everyone, but what's 69, that's it. That is over. That is going to be it for their position. They were 19th. I did not see exactly how many kills they got, but I do believe that that's not okay.
Yeah, they had 72 points coming into this game on 19th because they were 2 points behind NASR and NASR in 18th, and they were a good 6 points behind fastPay. That's not going to be the case.
Having a Cosmodrome finish. This is my first time I'm going to be casting a Cosmodrome finish. I love these weird circles. I love it. But one interesting fact is no one is getting Cosmodrome because it's too big. It's really hard to hold on to. You've got so many wide angles and buildings that you're really never safe when you think about it when you're fighting in Cosmodrome.
You've also got that kind of big kind of center dome. You've got the underground area as well, right? Which teams are going to be able to, of course, they're not going to get information from, but they're going to be able to huddle in. I'm not expecting GODSENT to do that, but at least they can enter into the Cosmodrome/circle area from the south side relatively unharmed, untouched. I'm looking at now Marines Force, who are outside the circle. They have probably the biggest mountain to climb on this rotation.
Yeah, I mean, NASR, I'm so surprised they actually stayed for so long on the coastal line. That's a big surprise. And now they've got to go for the last second push, but like they saw Klas die early in this game, right? They saw them pop into the field, like this team died. Well, why didn't they not move away? They delayed it. It was a risk that they did take versus Marines Force, but luckily enough, they will survive it, because if they died there, that was it. Their dream of making it to the league finals was over.
Yeah, but I do like the fact that they've gotten out of it. It was benefited by the fact that Marines Force went for kind of a 2-2 split and have been distracted by the likes of World of Wonder and 12-18. So that gave just that little bit more space for NASR.
Yeah, we were talking about NASR, but Marines Force also currently in 16th position. They're right on the fence. And to make sure the teams in Game 4 do not overtake them, they just need to get and gather as many points for themselves and just get himself a little bit more comfortable. But, you know, here there's still a lot of pressure, and sometimes pressure is the doing or the undoing of these teams. So Marines Force hoping that they'll just remain calm and take some really good options and decisions going into this one, as now teams are slowly getting forced into Cosmodrome because there's not too much room remaining in this circle.
True, but you know what pressure creates, Max? Pressure creates diamonds.
I knew you were going to say that. Doesn't say it often, but like, you know, I remember it. It says it quite a bit. It is a good sentence to come out with. But overall, OshTekkwarriors, they're going to be struggling. YaLLa Esports, I said it had a really decent position on the last phase, and now they're actually starting to go on the outskirts up north of Cosmodrome. OshTekkwarriors are going to be on the receiving end. But you said it right, the underground section, that's going to be Navi's new den, apparently.
Yeah, but they will have to contend with GODSENT, and GODSENT have the most to lose. And Navi, they're not actually really in the underground area as of just yet. Navy from GODSENT is getting a lot of good, strong information on the likes of the snipers and Navi themselves. And what's important for GODSENT to consider is that they are not inside this Phase 6 circle, and that blue zone damage is going to get pretty damn harsh if they leave it too late.
Would love a treaty between GODSENT and Navy, like Navi, to never fight, because I keep getting confused with Navy and Navi. So that would be cool just later on in the league finals if they can maybe avoid that to happen. But OshTekkwarriors, never alone, going to find himself one onto Zessi. World of Wonders still, they're in top position. They are not going to be really caring too much about how they do in this game. But Marines Force, unfortunately, they are going to be caring a lot more than what World of Wonders are going to be. And OshTekkwarriors and World of Wonders both got really good positions. But Marine Force actually might be able to use the fact that last of OshTekkwarriors is pushing upon World of Wonders, use this mayhem, this madness happening to rotate back in. But last going to get taken down, finds a 1-1 trade-off onto Son HP of World of Wonders. Down to Keys and Enjoy 7, so you're going to be pushing downhill. The Marines Force, they're hearing all the shots. This is maybe the golden opportunity because nobody has spotted them out just yet. But now, as I say that, they did spot them out because they took some shots. Maybe you should have stayed silent, my friend. OshTekkwarriors going to send 2 players on forward. They find one, find a second. NASR are out, and that is it. Oh, Marine Forces are out, should I say, are out for this game. Very unfortunate, but OshTekkwarriors now going to continue their fight with World of Wonders. And OshTekkwarriors taken out also by 12-18 from a distance. But yeah, Marines Force should have stayed silent.
They should have stayed silent. Can NASR get enough points? Can fastPay WildCats get enough points? That is the question that Marines are going to be asking in this last game. But looking at GODSENT, they were able to get a knockdown onto Navi earlier on. They've got 0 kill points, but they're in the top 6. Will those top 6 placement points, if they continue to get no kills, be enough to secure their spot in the finals?
This is the issue that I was talking about onto Cosmodrome. You never have decent hiding spots. You don't have those little nook and crannies in compounds because it's just such wide buildings, such wild structures. The team has a good angle and you're basically done. You're cooked meat. So now 12-18 still, they start to moving away really early on from Cosmodrome. They're going to be holding on to the eastern top ground position, which is great. But now the teams you really want to look at is especially NASR, right? They were able to move away from such a bad position into now Cosmodrome itself. That is huge game potentially for them.
The only thing is that Khalid and
Nectar
are a little bit too far apart. But the circle goes right in the center of that low ground. Right in the center of that low ground. That dome that is free, open, free-spirited. You've nowhere to run going down that area.
With this kind of circle, what I'm calling right now premature finishes. It's going to end towards the end of Phase 6 or Phase 7, which normally ends a little bit later towards Phase 8, Phase 9. So here the game is going to end really quickly because it's got no hiding spots. It's going to end right on top of the den of Navi's team. But now they're down below and all... Navy, I told you don't fight them. I'm going to get confused. Don't confuse me.
But now Navy's on the high ground. He's overlooking towards YaLLa Esports. YaLLa Esports have far less area to go, and 12-18 are hovering around them, but Sniper finds Marley.
Yeah, Marley's down. AMR doing some decent work for his team at GODSENT though. Now they've got the information, one sneaky player is down below. So they're going to be very careful while they approach the next circle. But NASR, right?
Yeah.
They have everything. All of their potential future in this full split of 2020 relies on this game, relies on this Cosmodrome finish. And the nades are going to make them fly by mini red zone onto Na'Vi.
No.
Looks good. It's going to be on Tiggsy. Tiggsy is out of commission. Even spots Holwood, but unfortunately just can't jump over and get the information. GODSENT can only use that information to get some utility through. But this game is mental, Imperium. I've never seen a circle end up in such a weird location on Vikendi in my life. And I'm savoring every single second of it as GODSENT now going to be taking some grenades from down below. You chuck grenades, I'm going to give you some back.
The high ground is a little bit harder to hit though, so we'll have to see how Na'Vi deal with it. They're still up as a full squad, but as they get closer to that dome area, they're going to face pressure from YaLLa Esports and 12-18.
Literally, it's finishing on the rocket. This is an Elon Musk-worthy finish. He would be a proud fellow. He'll start playing PUBG Mobile competitive really soon. Maybe SpaceX next sponsor. That'll be a good thing. But overall, 12-18 going to be contesting the northern side with YaLLa Esports. But by doing so, also taking a fight with Matic down below in the den underneath this rocket. This has to, like, what are these weird finishes and games today? I do not know, but I'm loving every single second of it. GODSENT, though, you're going to have to push over the ledge eventually in this game. The utility of 12-18 is stopping that fight to happen with YaLLa Esports, but the moment those smokes are gone, YaLLa Esports and 12-18 are going to have to big fight break out. Khalid is going to be jumping on out against one. Can he get another one? He's going to spot Oldboy very soon. Oldboy, though, gets the information with the footsteps, goes for the spray with a Thompson, finds himself one. Na'Vi up to kill number 5, potentially. Where's the other player of an ASR? He's up there. It's Nectar, going to go for the first aid. He's only got 2 more. But he's really trying to take potentially a 5th position instead of a 6th. But I would say potentially got to push it. And the circle actually ends down below Imperium.
Oh my god.
What?
The rocket is in the circle. Who's going to strap themselves to the finals? NASR? GODSENT? We'll have to wait and see. The good thing for GODSENT is that they do still have 2 players up. They're on the high ground. They can jump down and maybe surprise Na'Vi as NASR have been eliminated. But have they done enough to get the points?
I don't think so. If it is, it's going to be clutch. It's going to really depend on the results of teams going into game number 4. NSR still able to come away from a decent spot. But now the smokes, they're going to get reset by 12-18 and YaLLa Esports. Really, they want to put focus on the teams down below. Sniper, GODSENT, Na'Vi before fighting versus each other. But they're actually going to get pushed over the ledge. And now what that means is 2 fights taken out at the exact same time. YaLLa Esports striking the smokes, going to go for the smoke road. Na'Vi going to take full control, dead center. Taking himself down, Zeko right off the bat for YaLLa Esports. Na'Vi down to steal. One extra player. It's going to be Meku holding on to the backside. The GODSENT is still in the backside. YaLLa Esports going to go downhill slowly but surely. Na'Vi down to 1, as I just mentioned, is Meku. And he's trying to clear the lobby, but he's got the smoke spawn him a lot of precious time. And that Snipers on GODSENT, they're going to be controlling this game, taking shots from a distance. 12-18 going to be taking a big fight, and they will dominate in a northern edge fight of Cosmodrome versus YaLLa Esports. They're out in 4th position. Still 6 kills over to Na'Vi, looking good, still fighting for that tippity top of the mountain position in number 1. 12-18 going downhill, losing 1. That's going to be Nuggets out of commission, followed up with Zakonivor. Blue Gen still doing some work, but they still got 1 player downhill and can still maybe clutch it. 1v1 as Meku's still going to go for the res onto Oldboy, but Marley. Wait, no, that's actually not Marley, that's Navy. No way, he's actually going to be spotting out the players. He's got still 1 more first aid kit. He could actually potentially snatch this one for himself if he plays his cards correctly. It's all a battle of time. Here it is, goes for the spray, picks up 1, going to go over to now. Meku potentially be cannot find a frag just yet. That's going to make things easier for the last player. Bandita of 12-18, it will go out. That will be 3rd position over to 12-18. 2nd position to GODSENT, if I'm not mistaken. And the chicken dinner will go over to none other than Na'Vi, keeping that 100% win rate on Vikendi.
Normally, we have kind of games that, you know, you're able to kind of use as reference points for, you know, other games and stuff. That finish, that area that it ended, there's literally like no reference points to that. When the hell has it really ended inside Cosmodrome by the rocket? That was crazy, but I gotta say, GODSENT, they hovered on the edge and they played Na'Vi, NASR and Snipers to a T, and it was well executed. Kylaris, what do you think of that one?
Yeah, that That was... there was this brief moment where it was like half Cosmotron pit, half normal terrain. I'm like, you know what would be great, guys? If it just shifts hard west. If it just shifts hard west. And it did. And I've never seen a more ridiculous location for a Vikendi ending. That was... Oh, anyway, gentlemen, I have no questions. I am a speechless human of a man. I will send you off. Get ready for our last Erangel, and I'll get our analysis guys on here as well. I'm not even sure how you break down these last moments. That was... hi, John. Hi, Blank. That was a circle. John, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm lost. Are we sure we're playing PUBG Mobile? Are we sure, guys? Has anyone double checked? Because that was absolutely insane. What a place to finish. It was quite the ringer.
Definitely was. Let's take a look at the points coming on here, if anybody got any points in that game. 24 points definitely goes to our lobby leader. Na'Vi manages to clutch it out in what looked a very uncertain situation, but they were the ones that are able to take the only cover that exists in those last two circles in the middle there. 12-18 get themselves second place, and the Snipers, what about them? They get themselves a third place here with the 13 points. Blank, it was eventful.
It was eventful. I would say it's probably the best game in EMEA League so far, honestly, 110%.
Excitement factor, yeah.
Excitement factor, right through the roof. My blood was pumping, heart rate felt like I was going to die at one point, but, you know, it was all good. It was all good. Did not have to ring the ambulance after all.
You and the rest of the lobby.
Yeah, me and the rest of the lobby. Yeah. But there was one crucial factor. There was one very, very big thing that changed that game, and it was a four-wheeled metal machine. It was the Dacia that was headed towards the back of that launch pad, and you know, Na'Vi used to just fly out into the middle. It was kind of crazy. I mean, they could have gone either way, but, you know, again, split-second decisioning. Na'Vi's like, we kind of have to go. So let's all get in the car. Let's get in the middle. Let's get towards the helicopter, and we'll see if we can get off. Get to the chopper, pretty much is what happened there. And it was great. It was a great ending. I loved it. I loved it so much.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Here's the highlights coming on in. And for two Vikendis, we have Na'Vi getting both wins in their respective Vikendis. It's brilliant to see here, John. And honestly, when you look at how Na'Vi is playing out these league stages, you'd be hard pressed to not bank on them as probably the eventual winners of the tournament if they continue with this trend.
I would probably agree with you on that, James. I think, you know, the prowess that Na'Vi has displayed in rotations, and to be fair, in those fights and making those decisions, and Old Boy as well, just fragging out of his mind on several occasions, has just been so impactful in terms of the presence that they've just got in this tournament. And I think, as you say, you would be hard-pressed to choose anybody else at this stage to be able to win out the whole thing.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned Old Boy. He was one that was popping off with a fully kitted out suppressed Tommy gun towards the end, still in hand and still doing what he needs to do, using those iron sights to get himself a few pickups here and there. So really impressive stuff. What else do you take away from this game, Blank?
Yeah, there was a lot to take away. I think that there was a lot that went down. Honestly, this map kind of just got crazier and crazier towards the end. I think there was again though, one thing I will point out is that, you know, the rotations feel like they have declined since that first weekend, that first day, I would say, for the EMEA League. I would say that we definitely had much cleaner rotations going down, and honestly, I would say that, honestly, because we are getting towards the end of the league now, there are some teams who are just going for it. They're just giving it a good old go at the end, right? And that's absolutely fine. So things are getting a little bit hectic. Teams are going for many, many kills. You see here, Meku immediately jumps up. Meku has actually been a little bit of like the silent warrior on Na'Vi. I would say he's very much like the great backup of the team so far. He plays almost his support role, but when he's needed, he definitely performs.
Navy almost spoiling the results here from Na'Vi. However, it's not to be in the blue too long, and then moving behind this helicopter for extra cover against that position to be able to kill off the last 12-18 player. So let's take a look at the total damage as well. And John, you can talk to me about this when we have it revealed. Let's see what we've got. Mr. Gentleman John.
Well,
It's some pretty crazy numbers, and I think we wouldn't expect anything else from this final circle. It was such a weird sort of upstairs, downstairs finish there for Na'Vi being underneath and GODSENT being on the top of the launchpad platform that no one really could step forwards. Na'Vi, to an extent, were protected by GODSENT because they couldn't. They stopped anyone from being able to push over the lip and going and crashing towards Na'Vi's position, getting those off angles. That was GODSENT's guardian position right there.
Yeah.
And in the same vein, Na'Vi were able to stop people from pushing in and being able to take some weird off angles against GODSENT. It was a symbiotic relationship there, and obviously Na'Vi got the bulk of the points for it, but GODSENT still managed to put up the numbers, and that's what I said I wanted to see. They finished highly, they got those points, and they've seen themselves pretty safe here in the tournament.
Blank, your thoughts?
Well, honestly, like you say, John, they were the Guardians on the top side. They literally were Angels, and they were GODSENT for Na'Vi. So very, very happy were the boys beneath. Other than that nade, which is a bit cheeky, that they actually managed to throw through the big old well at the top side and actually hit Matic. So, actually Tixie. So they were Na'Vi was a little bit angry about that. Like, come on, guys, you're meant to be helping us. Stop that. Stop that.
We're vibing. We're trying to go to space right now.
Exactly.
We're just harshing it.
And then you have, oh boy, the Italian mobster with his Tommy gun towards the end of that game, which seemed to work out very well. But I'm going to say that let's just say it was an interesting game.
Yeah, it is actually interesting, considering that for even for me, the Tommy gun actually early game used to be my go-to backup gun. Maybe less so into the late game, but made it work. Very, very impressive stuff. Let's take a look at the top players here from the lobby here for Vikendi. Oh, overall. Oh, okay. So in terms of kills here, right now, Old Boy is top of the kills. Silas coming in second here. Zessi just behind. We were talking about Zessi a bit whilst this game was going on. And yes, right now, it does feel like they're a little bit devil-may-care here. And I think that they have high prospects here in the league right now. But I was saying to you guys, what do you think about Zessi and his tendency to flex very, very far? Because I feel like if anything is going to be their Achilles heel, it might be that, even though sometimes it does pay fruit, I think maybe in the finals it might be a little bit of a liability in some situations. What do you think? I'll go with you, John.
This is something that we've seen in the past from a couple of these teams, a couple of teams where they have a standout fragging player who likes to play a little bit aggressive, and they get a little bit too big for their boots, really, and they end up costing their team a 4-player final circle set and really, taking the wind out of their sails. And I think that that's kind of what's happening here with Zessi to a degree, as we've seen over the past couple of days. World of Wonders have been relying on their point bank that they were able to accrue early on into the tournament, and now have sort of started to falter. So we were asking ourselves a couple of days ago, how did they not win their region? Well, maybe we're seeing that happen just now.
Maybe. I mean, it's difficult to take away anything from Zessi because he's clearly shown he's an absolute standout player in this blank. But I don't know, the cogs started ticking away in my head, and I thought maybe this might be a little potential weakness. But even though he's very strong.
Yeah, he's kind of got that Ziz legacy ahead of him, like flexing all over the map. But I just want him to come back. Just come back, bro. Like, you don't need to be out there anymore. Come back to the fold. Come back to the team, to the brothers. Help him out sometimes. You are so good. And it was great to see him. Honestly, let's go right back to day one. Let's go right back to day one. Let's take it back. Let's rewind. Sure. Let's go rewind time. And honestly, there he was with the team, and he was opening up the fights for them. At the moment, he feels like he's just trying to be this one-man wonder, and he doesn't have that support from the rest of his team. Not because they don't want to support him, but rather because they're literally getting their binoculars out, like looking at him about 200 meters away. Like, what are you doing, man?
It's all right.
Yeah.
You keep going, mate. You keep going. Anyway, thank you very much, gentlemen. Before we get into our final game, of course, we can check in with some of our players here once again from the EMEA League and do a little, once again, quick fire round here to see what they think here in the league.
Which team are you most looking forward to face off against?
Ну, из команд, которые сейчас с нами участвуют, мы же со всеми уже играли на тренировочных играх, праках. Как бы нету ни одной команды, которая какая-то очень сильная и очень интересная, против которой очень интересно играть, такой нету.
Все команды интересные для нас. что-то новое, потому что с СНГ одна игра, а с EMEA уже совсем другая. Так что такого ничего не могу сказать за одну команду. Все команды хорошие, интересные.
We are not scared. It doesn't matter. Oh, we don't care.
Konina Power.
We have Alliance, Navi. Yeah, all these good teams are all good teams.
Konina Power ve Navi.
Konina Power daha çok.
Which non-EMEA region would you most like to play against?
Kitai.
Well, definitely Chinese teams.
Americans.
Asia region.
Asia, because they have, in my opinion, they have the best teams out there.
Asya region.
Asya region.
North Amerika'ya karşı oynamayı çok istiyorum ben şahsen.
How would you explain your team's preferred style of gameplay?
У нас нет как такового стиля, мы просто играем по ситуации. Но лично мне нравится агрессивный стиль.
Более агрессивный, наверное.
Aggressive.
We've been playing a lot aggressive since the last World League, and we changed our IGL since then.
We pretty much like to play aggressive, which is very good in this new pointing system. But there is a lot of thoughts behind how other teams will be playing. So we have something in plan.
Passive and aggressive when it needs.
We like to play aggressive and at the same time safe. But yeah, we're aggressive and safe.
Yerine göre agresif, yerine göre defansif.
Mantıklı agresiflik sadece.
A lot of respect from our players here coming out for the China region, which we haven't been able to see too much of in terms of that head-to-head play for a while, but the PEL is currently ongoing and it'll be exciting down the line, of course, once the global situation is all calmed down, when we get to those proper big, huge championships once again. But for now, of course, we are going to take a look at how things are shaping up here in the EMEA League and who has been able to make the shift, be the windy mover along the ground here to be able to get themselves to the right spot throughout these last couple of games. So let's check in with the moves for these teams. Right now in our 1 through 8, not too much shift. I don't think we really need to linger on these due to the fact that we know that they're all going into that grand final. Let's move down a little bit into our 9th through 16th because that's really where things are going to be taking shape in the next game. So we have Marine Force DE able to move into that top 16 spot, as you can see here. SNAKEsquad likewise solidifying themselves here too, John. So one more game to go, but I think that things are going to be very tight here for some of these teams towards the bottom.
Crucial column to be paying attention to, of course, is matches, where you see some teams have this last game yet to play.
Yeah.
And of course, Marine Force DE, they have 84 points right now. The predicted bubble has been moving over the course of the last few games from about 85, between 87, 85, sort of back and forth and up and down.
Yes.
So that 84 number is just below that. This is an opportunity for the teams on the other page to be able to try and jump that. In my mind, I feel like Blaze are going to be safe here. Konina Power as well, but there is still opportunities for teams below them to jump up.
Here's the kicker. Let's take a look at our 17th through 24th and see who is close. And we have quite a few teams in striking distance here, Blank, that could very easily have that one more game, like fastPay WildCats, maybe YaLLa, maybe Bloodline, to try and get themselves a big game to push into that top 16.
Yeah, Bloodline have had maybe 1 or 2 good games here. They're not exactly the one I'm looking out for right now, but YaLLa definitely, like you say, they can launch the spear out towards that 16th place.
Polar Ace as well, they, remember, are on form today. So they have a chance to come up with another big chicken dinner. If they're able to pull it off, it'll be a miracle, but they would be able to make it.
Yeah, and
fastPay WildCats on the other hand and SWAT 69, these two teams haven't really moved too much, honestly. So I think SWAT 69's got like about 5 points in it, and that's all they've had for quite some time. So there is the opportunity to leapfrog them because they're not putting out those numbers as of yet. Scary last game. Let's see how it goes. I'm really excited to watch how it plays out on this final game of Erangel, honestly, because it is our classical battleground and it's where we want to see it end.
I'm sure a lot of teams hate this moment, but I love this moment. It's our final game, and we get to find out here between our teams that have only played 11 games so far, who is going to be able to jump up. There are really 2 or 3 candidates that might be able to make that leap forwards here in our final 2 groups here for Erangel. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Of course, we will be breaking this down here and also talking about the overall group stages right after this. But for now, you can join us on Twitter with the hashtag EMEA League, as well as at Esports PUBGM, as we now bring on our commentators for the final Erangel of the group stage. Hell, the final game of the group stage. Just a few more names remaining here to try and get themselves in. I'm gone. I'll leave them with these guys.
Thank you very much, Klas. We'll see you in a bit after this game. But yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, it's our final game of the league play. It's time where no legends will be made, where some teams will fall and crumble down. This is the penultimate chapter of the league play. And after this, we'll have our top 16 teams moving to the league finals of the EMEA League.
Sometimes you can't really break too much down. We have 2 or 3 teams in the mix. 110%, but when we are coming into this final game, we've talked about in so many other tournaments, Max, how it can come down to 1 point. Qualify, not qualify, win or lose. And that is certainly going to be the case for fastPay WildCats, YaLLa Esports and Polar Ace.
Yes, indeed. Those are going to be the teams do you want to keep on your radar. Let's not forget Polar Ace, thanks to Jody, able to find himself the first chicken dinner of the day on Erangel.
Yes.
Himself so many kills. So really, that is the kind of performance that we're looking for. Again, I'm going to say bare minimum for Polar Ace to make it up. 2nd to 3rd with a lot of kills. That is what I'm looking for. Let's see if they can perform into this one. The Imperium. Really, this is it. 2 weekends of action. We had so many games on our board, and this is it. This is the final moments for these teams to make it up. And after this game, 16 teams will have to go.
And normally, I wouldn't consider Polar Ace based on their overall position, 24th, right? You normally wouldn't. But as you rightly said, based off that, and as John pointed out, that massive game 1 today, 26 points. That's within the scope of what they need in this game too. They need a minimum of 24 points to even reach 16th place. And that's not even including what YaLLa and fastPay WildCats pull out the board. But phase 1, it's a little bit similar to what it was in game 1. Centralized, a little bit more to the east.
Yeah, I don't want the circle to mess us up and give us like a weird circle for the finally closing moments. No, don't Imperium, touch wood right now, I swear to God. Don't do that.
Sorry, man, but, you know.
Yeah, we did see then 2 teams also go for the side up north of Severny because the Alliance Anonymous Lobby is going to be the Force and SNAKEsquad, and we've got also another fight is going to be the Monster. You know, it started to be a little bit more aggressive versus Vibe 6. 2 teams that, you know, they're not going to make it. They're like, as I said earlier, going out with a bang. It always feels good. Bremon's going to go down to the Grenade of Veto, and they are going to try and capitalize on that opportunity.
Oh, the coincidence that you said with a bang and then a grenade banged on over towards the members of Vibes.
Maybe it was done on purpose. Who knows?
Maybe it wasn't done on purpose. As Vito with the shotgun just blasts a head off and leaves MNK inside the top of that building on his own.
Blaze taking a big fight with old team also currently in the field. We're going to see that one pop up. Another fight is really not all that, you know, intriguing for us. It's not going to have a huge underlying issue. I mean, Blaze currently actually still in 15th. They're looking good. They're in 15th. They shouldn't be in too much trouble. We're going to have Vibes pushing on forward, picking up also an extra kill for himself. The Monster's looking for the angle on MNKR3. But really, this is just a very slow approach game. Some hot drops could happen, and this is the case here.
If Blaze go out now, and both YaLLa and fastPay get strong results, Blaze could go out. They could not qualify, so it is still a relatively important game for Blaze. That's not, you know, make that mistake. They do need to get 5-6 points kind of thing.
Sure, here it is, going for the push. MNKR3 with that shotgun, really just deserving of a respect on these final moments. 5-6 down to already 3 players, and they're very spread from each other. Where's the rest of his team? Where are Famar? Where are Usa as well? Well, Famar is in the afterlife, apparently. He's gone. MNKR3 just trying his best to hold on strong. If he's got some utility, it would be good, but he's only stayed in this same building the entire early game. Imperium, so he's severely underlooted with nothing to play around.
So, you know, while this fight is kind of... Actually, no, just I say that, it's going to go out, and that's the end of Vibes. Easy done by the Monster. But yeah, just to kind of go back, looking at where fastPay, WildCats, YaLLa, and Polar Ace are currently in this game. fastPay went to North George. It is their rough drop spot area. They know that 12-18 and Navi are not in the lobby, so they have a lot more space to play around, but it is still going to be an important rotation because a lot of teams are already inside this phase 1 circle. YaLLa are down south by the coastline. They knew, again, with GODSENT not being present, they have a bit more space, but they do have to think about Konina Power and Polar Ace are all together in school and apartments. It's going to be an easier rotation from Polar Ace, but again, they do still have to be a little bit careful.
Yeah, I think that here definitely getting a high ground position would be a lot more valuable for them to just gather that information and just, you know, just like they did on Potato Hill on that first game, right? So I think I'm expecting something maybe similar fashions. I'm going to be also going over teams that, like we were talking between each other, you and me, Imperium, in the break was actually fastPay WildCats. They're currently 8 points away minimum. Try and get close to the top 16. They're going to need, of course, a little bit more points than that to actually make it up in the top 16, but they're in a position which Navi always drop in. Navi always able to find really good rotation, so it really shows that this location as a whole of Northern George Pole offers a lot of potential for WildCats, and I want to see them potentially extract that potential for this final game.
You know, even though it would take a little bit longer, depending on the timing of their rotation, rotating all the way across to the north of Yasnaya and make their way down to the mansion area would in theory be a really strong start for fastPay WildCats. The only other team on the eastern side right now is Bloodline. But again, the timing of the rotation is going to be so important.
I 100% agree. It's going to be having a big underlying issue for a lot of these squads. Also, down south, next Congenials a little bit split, but they know that no one else has dropped in South North Carolina, so they're allowing themselves just a little bit more breathing space. They're going to have to push potentially on Konina Power next to Miltor, or over to the Western Bridge if they want. I mean, that would be great for them. You know, class game not in this lobby, so the West is a lot more free to push them on. So next Congenials, if they did the homework properly, shouldn't be an issue to make it back to the mainland.
NaixCSquad, they're in Yasnaya. They change up once again their drop spot because they know and they knew that there was that potential of the monster kind of hot dropping with them. So knowing that World of Wonder and OshTek aren't in this lobby, they're like, ooh, Yasnaya, free city, let's go there. And again, you know, it worked for NaixCSquad in game 1. And I really like that they've adapted, and it should work again for them in this game too. Of course, they got enough points in that first game to secure their spot in the finals.
100%. Makes me think of, like, you know, Shaq at the Hot Ones interview and just go,
Shaquille O'Neal?
Yes. Yeah. Call him Shaq. That's fine.
Yeah, I know, but I just wanted to make sure that's who you were talking about.
It is. I just like the face, like, I'll stay here. Thank you.
I wish I could ask questions the way Sean Evans asks them.
Oh, he's such a good interviewer.
He's such a good interviewer. Like, that's the kind of questions I wish I could ask, but I have a small brain, so I can't do that.
Yeah. Sorry, Imperium, but this is a big brain spray. They spot out Desha. That's going to be it for Desha. It's going to be sprayed away and picked up by Blaze. And we mentioned it, right, that currently they're standing in 15th. These kills will make the difference. Sure, the more they get kills, the more they're going to be comfortable in that top 16, but they're just not comfortable just yet, as Umbra, their team that are indeed comfortable, taking the fight with the monsters that are not comfortable. I'm talking about comfortable and not comfortable. This feels like an IKEA shop right now. We'll change the dialect a little bit.
Yeah, for Blaze, like going back to Blaze, the compound that they're in went against them in one of the previous games where they got, you know, breached, and I think it was FRAG machines that took them out, if I'm not mistaken. So by them taking out a member of old team, again, they're kind of creating a little bit more control, a little bit more confidence. But one thing I've just noticed is that YaLLa Esports have made their way up from the farm area, and they are quite close to Blaze Esports. It's not enough where they're probably going to be able to, let's say, breach, but should they find the angles, should they find the knocks, I reckon YaLLa will take their chances.
Talking about Nox, there you go, Morteza, one of the top fraggers, top players in the entirety of this league play of the EMEA League. He's going to be shown up once again in the kill feed for good reason. He finds a knock onto Roz. But Umbra, especially PRZ on the rooftop in the distance, he might have like a really good angle onto the monsters. So they've got to be very careful. Every movement might put you in the line of sight of a player of Umbra. And as I say that, PRZ, the angle is going to be rewarded. He tries to get prone, but no, you can shoot from the heavens. The monsters will be losing an extra one of their players. Down to one is going to be crazy. And this should normally be the end of their adventure in this league play.
What I like for the WildCats is that not WildCats, Polar Ace, should I say, is that they realized with the circle being a bit more to the east, Potato Hill is a bit riskier because there's still a number of teams that drop to the west. And as I said, it's a hard area to hold on to. So what did they do? They went a little bit more northeast from Potato Hill. So they're now on this phase 2 shift are more central to the circle. But so are so many other teams. Max, it is going to get scary for Polar Ace and YaLLa.
You're going to say, it is what it is.
No, I actually wasn't. I wasn't. But I'm glad I made you think that.
I'm getting prepared. But like with these kind of circles ending on Shelter Mountain, it does tend to get clustered really heavily. So I think that teams are like really close, like potentially Blaze, they would actually be more rewarded by maybe playing a little bit more passive because literally every point might make the difference.
Oh no, Blaze have gone for a 2-2 split and that could really mess them up. Going for a 2-2 split when you're in the center of phase 2 is so risky because that 2-man split is kind of in the open. You have a core area of protection, but I don't like this from Blaze. I think they should get back up as a full squad.
Yeah, I think it was good for scouting in the early stage, and the moment that they saw, the circle centering up on us with dead center, maybe you should try and get back, which I think they're doing. They actually get himself into a car and try and somewhat regroup as a few packs. I think at least the mindset is there for Blaze Esports, but maybe took a little bit too long because one team got right in between them, so that could make things a little bit more tricky. But the Force actually going for a third party on this fight in Rozhok, and could be joined up by a fourth team that could be the WildCats. They're actually going for a really late rotation. You thought that should be the case for the WildCats. They're going to be up north of Rozhok and finding a decent spot for themselves, as we're going to be now checking out the split of Blaze.
Bloodline looking to come in hot. Blaze, as we talked about, they're a little bit split. 2 are underground, the other 2 are much further away. And you also have SNAKEsquad rotating into the west of those 2 other members of Blaze Esports. And, you know, to kind of just touch upon fastPay WildCats a little bit, I like the fact that they're being a little bit more passive on their rotations and they are taking their time. I believe they'll be rewarded for it.
Remember in the past on Erangel 1.0, I would always say Shelter sucked. And I still think that to some extent. I still think that and believe that to some extent. But like now how they changed the entry points of Shelter, you can actually play around them a lot more. You can't get like easily outperformed in peak stages. I think overall it is a little bit more viable on the door, on the on the entry ports. But unfortunately for Blaze Esports that are inside, how they're going to push out could get a little bit tricky.
They're kind of banking on the circle staying in Shelter, and this is where the 2-2 split maybe becomes a little bit more achievable because the 2 players that are split away from them are able to reposition more easily. They're able to actually gather information for the 2 players who are underground. So on that note, maybe I was a little bit harsh on that 2-2 split initially, but it was kind of off the base that I didn't see exactly where they were.
Yeah, as long as Blaze are going to be respectful of teams getting around them, then we should be completely fine. Rozhok going to be slowly engulfed into the blue zone. As I said, they're going to pan on over. Oh my god, that was timing on point. Thank you, spectator guys. Really enjoying what you guys are doing over here. But okay, Punishers are going to be going out in a cloud of smoke.
Yep,
they're out. I mean, they were out entirely anyways of the league final, so it will not have an underlying issue on these teams. But overall, that's going to be them out in 15th.
It's good for SNAKEsquad, so because they grab a couple of kills, so that's going to just automatically confirm their spot even more.
Circle? Hello? 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 Can we get normal circles, please?
Max,
I told you touch wood, Imperial. I told you this is your fault.
I called hardship, though. I called it.
Damn. I mean, how do you respond to this now? Like, teams literally might just have to go for the water play if they just need to grab a few points. Like,
so for YaLLa, they were already kind of set up around the farm areas, so they don't have to reposition too badly. Polar Ace have automatically reacted in a good way, moving from their kind of eastern position from Potato Hill and Blaze. They wait until the blue zone starts closing, and they allow all the other teams to kind of rotate around them so they can continue in this game as the full squad moving in on the edge. That's the way I would recommend it anyway.
It's exactly happening as what you're saying, actually. You know, SNAKEsquad and Bloodline are both going to rotate away from this one. They will encounter each other next to the side of Shelter, on the more southern eastern edge of Shelter. So now Blaze can really see it, that 2-2 split. They're going to get himself into the car, regroup back into Shelter, then put their focus onto the circle. Really well pointed out, Imperium. That is exactly what Blaze are going to be trying to do because they knew they were in a tricky spot. They didn't move. The moment teams move out, wait for the blue zone to come in, they regroup. So Blaze, that is exactly what they should be doing. Really good calls as Konina Power going to get headshot by Vitamin. Ooh, spicy.
I'm a little bit worried about fastPay WildCats. Coming in from the eastern coastline, it's kind of good, it's safe, but you don't get as much... Okay, so they're doing what I hoped they would do. Instead of staying on the coastline where it's more low ground, they're actually going up and towards that higher ground outside the prison and the logging area, so they're going to be able to overlook the Milta area and the field, so they might be able to make that work, but it's still not going to be the easiest.
Still not going to be too easy indeed. NaixCSquad making himself inside Milta, but Konina Power already started moving towards that bridge area, so far that means that Milta is going to be a free real estate for these teams. The Force slowly crashing to Frag Machines. Frag Machine, they already got himself 3 kills, so looking really good. Potentially can ramp it up to an extra 4 if they really take this huge fight. They find himself a lockout right after an extra 3 kills actually if they want to do so. There's only 3 more kills to go around. SKTON looking for the angle. Unfortunately, with an M16 in hand, not the best weapon at that kind of range. Would propose you to shift it over, but Freak with that barrel gonna do God's work on this team. The Force down to 2 is gonna be Alkim and SKTON. The Frag are very, very widely spread on this compound.
Yeah, they are, but because they've kind of done the damage in the early parts, they have the control where they can kind of now push in a little bit more confidently. Umbra, I think you noticed they're kind of rotating behind them. They're going, hey, you guys fight, we'll go past you.
You do you, guys. You do you.
Oh, no.
But no, Daphne got... What is it?
Oh, no.
Blaze. That is going to be coming to haunt you if you die because of that. Ralph, though, behind the walls, you're already prone to taking nade damage, which is exactly what's going to be happening for him. SKTON. Now, Kim, we especially know SKTON Imperium. This is a man who can clutch it. He knows his PUBG Mobile clutch gods moves. And looking for Frag Machine, going to go for the push. Going to be going back to his main AR, but no, not able to find the spray just yet. And he's going to get actually traded away by Freak. That is huge, and Frag Machine eliminate the Force in 14. 6 kills going the way of Frag.
Sayonara Konnichiwa to the Force. The circle has shifted down, but Bloodline fighting up against Polar Ace.
Only insane circles call for insane team fights. Bloodline, they're on the fence. They need this win. They need to do good. Unfortunately, one of their players, Capella, knocked away, though Allen in a decent spot down below next to the road will pull off that res eventually. You can see the kill leaders so far. Freak and Boycat doing really good on their end, but this fight is going to be mainly a trade-off, and when you find the knocks, that's when you're going to try and full send and capitalize. Umbra out, but at the end, they were still qualified, so it's all good, all fine for them.
YaLLa Esports have the potential to really get, a strong result, right? But they do have to deal with NaixCSquad and Konina Power. Being outside the farm area, inside that compound by the road, it's pretty good for them, but I don't like the fact that kind of all of their players are in those kind of house and a half buildings. I would like to maybe see one kind of actually sent out a little bit further.
Let's not forget, this is a huge fight. Whichever of these two teams loses this fight, they're not going to qualify. Okay, so they need to take this. These two teams got a lot on the board for this game. Ked trying to go for the pre-shot. Unfortunately, not going to work out. They are down to a 2-man team. Imperium Polar Ace outnumbered.
Nice.
Ked, it's time to do Ked things, my friend. Pushing out Wiz's ally is going to be Wiz Jody. Jody allowing his team to take themselves the first chicken dinner early on Erangel. Whichever loses this, they're out. They're not good to the league finals. They need to take the win. As this fight's taken long because they've just got so much pressure on their shoulders, they can't afford to go down. Allen picked up actually by our Chapo. NaixCSquad going for a long distance third party into the blue zone, actually inside the circle, and they're going to be into the blue zone very soon. Ked, great spray, able to find a bit of damage onto Bazzi. They're going to be in the blue in just a few seconds. They need to end it. Ked, one more 1v1, then go for the rest onto Jody, and then just rush inside the circle. But if Bazzi finds himself Ked, that is the end for the Polar Ace team. It's a spray over with Uzi. Barrel shots. Actually, it's going to be the AKM shots coming out. Ked wins it. Ked doing Ked things. And Polar Ace will remain alive. But you've got to be quick because it's phase 4. You can't res easily in that phase.
Now, fight breaks out between Konina Power and Blaze. Grenades being flown up by Konina Power, and it connects onto Daphne and Coursera.
There you have it. That was a clean one by Acer. Now you've got to try and capitalize, turn into something new. But it seemed like Blaze like Coursera. I'm sorry, mate. We just can't go for the res, but they're taking a car. They haven't picked up any speed. That's such a risky move. They lose 1, they lose 2. No, Blaze throw in the game, and they're out. They're gone. They're not in a run anymore, baby, and that's going to be the end, normally, of their venture. We'll have to check in the standings later, but I'm pretty sure that that is not what they wanted to make it to the league finals. Oh, boy.
Oh, not a good end for them, but either way, it all comes down to what YaLLa and fastPay WildCats can do, as YaLLa is fighting up against Konina Power.
There you go. So far, we do know Bloodline not making it out. Blaze, it will really depend on the teams, how they perform in this lobby. So that's going to be point in interest. especially teams next to their position. SNAKEsquad going to be pushing also very close. YaLLa Esports on the more receiving end, another team that has a chance of making it on through. This is an intense finish. You still have so much water coming into this one as PolarAce get eliminated. I believe that's not enough. They need a way better performance, so PolarAce are gone. Also, the teams are dropping down like flies, Imperium.
2 teams left in the running. You got fastPay WildCats and you got YaLLa Esports. fastPay WildCats, they actually rotated from the high ground down to the very coastal position by the bridge, and they are, of course, out of sight, out of mind. Do they have any kills? No, not really, but are they now in the top 7 and setting themselves up? Yeah, that's good stuff, and you can see they have 2 points from those kills. Let's see how it goes.
Palms are sweating, my mum's spaghetti. I'm sweating and I'm not even playing this game, goddammit. I can't even imagine in what state the players are. Gonzo, Konina Power going to be looking for the fun to YaLLa Esports. Another team you mentioned, Imperium, they got a huge amount of potential in this game to qualify. But unfortunately for them, they're getting YOLO. They're getting one-man team by Gonzo. SNAKEsquad, they're moving away. They got 8 kills already. They've done a great performance. Kato, great nade onto Black-White. But now you've got to turn that nade knockdown into something big. You've got to turn that into a legacy going into this game. They take the fight towards Rob Dinny. Rob Dinny is going to be overwhelmed. Asa and Gonzo, 2-man team for Konina Power. Can they make the comeback versus YaLLa happen? Can they take the 2v3? It's actually going to turn their focus towards SNAKEsquad in a distance. And the circle still has so much water involved. Teams might just go for the swim-in finish. As Azzy going to get cornered up in that position, and they're not going to get pushed up just yet. But Gonzo from Konina Power slowly going to get involved. They did get the res also on Black-White, by the way. So still back as a 3-man team. Gonzo, 1 bullet. That's all they needed to take him down. Black-White also really low. 1 shot is good, but he's going to go for the first take. He's still got 4 after this one, so he can still survive for a pretty long period of time. But I think that here, YaLLa Esports taking too long to use those knocks that they had earlier to finish Konina Power.
Yes and no. Now they have to close out. Earlier on I get it, but now they have to push. And I like the fact they are thinking of their position inside the circle, but they have to make sure they don't get backstabbed by the 2-man team of Konina Power.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Like, if you move now and you do not get rid of Konina Power, you're going to get backstabbed. Yeah. I know Konina Power, they're going to use this potential. They're going to capitalize on this golden opportunity that was gifted to them to not only take that fight and potentially take the game and just sponge up all those points in their facility. So this is maybe the move that YaLLa Esports will regret or might be rewarding them. Was a huge game. WildCats also down below. We talked about them. Another team contesting, fighting for the league final spot in the top 16. They're going to force their way towards SNAKEsquad, and YaLLa Esports could have an angle from the northern side. Frag machines are out of the count, and NaixCS's got the entire western side for themselves.
SNAKEsquad, fastPay WildCats on the beach line side. Who's gonna make a beach out of this game? We'll have to wait and see. But fastPay, they still have 3 players up. That's good. It's important, but they do need to worry about Naix.
Oh my god, this compound next. They the circle magnets right now, looking good. The YaLLa Esports, they waited, they went into the circle. They're going to find themselves Black-White right away. Just got 1 player. Seemed like they were ready for the backstab to potentially happen. As long as they were mentally prepared for that, I'm completely A-okay with that rotation. I think YaLLa Esports are doing exactly what they must do to survive and stay along in this game. But still, once again, as a recap, 2 teams fighting for the top 16. Oh my god, the nade of Jamaz is huge, decimating the side of YaLLa Esports. Another grenade coming out from Bandar. It might just seal the deal. It might just seal their fate as a whole. It does indeed. That is going to be it. YaLLa Esports are out in 6, and that was a huge play coming out from the northern team of Headquarters.
Marines Force destination is held in the hands of fastPay WildCats, and Kesh is inside the water. He's swimming towards the edge of the circle. If that's not a desperation move, I don't know what is. But again, based off what's at stake, I'm okay with that because they're in the top 4.
Yeah, but the thing is Ketch, right, is that he could not actually pick his head up. If he did, easy pick up for Vitamin, and he did go down. Sword also going to get picked up. It's down to only Moss. Moss, unfortunately, no cars, no trees, no rocks. You got nowhere to hide, my friend. All he can do is run, and run he will do. As Moss now unfortunately peaked up. NaixCS's, they got full ownership. Headquarters slowly going to be taking actually the focus away of Naix, so maybe Headquarters might be the redemption arc of this team. They do confirm that kill over to Sword, so that's going to be completely okay. He was not going to get rezzed up whatsoever. So Moss still looking good. Well, Senku! I just realized Senku! He's just in the water, okay. Oh my god. Is this NASR? Okay.
This is absolutely crazy. I'm just waiting to see what happens in the ending of this game. Headquarters, NaixCS, you got the last player of fastPay WildCats.
Oh, not anymore, Imperium. WildCats are out. Was that enough to qualify? Was that enough? I do not know. We'll have to check the standings later on, but here, definitely chicken dinner would have made things a lot more comfortable for them in the long run. So we'll check that out later with John Blank and Kalaris on the desk. Now Cena's going to be taking his final chicken dinner of the league play. Ida is going to be slow peeking his way over. This smoke road is so well done. But while that time, we still have that one Snake player in the water. We can still snatch this game away. Ida instantly confirmed away by NaixCongenial. Jackie did some work in the attic. And now he's going to be pushing on down with his team, getting for the knockdowns. They're going to have a crate, potentially could be helping out also the push-up headquarters, but they're just getting picked up one by one, Imperium. And now the nade to maybe seal the deal. Could be huge, and it does indeed. Oh my god, headquarters, they are getting back, and they're giving themselves back their own medicine by NaixCongenials. Now, where's the last player? Where is he? We have no idea.
I think they know he's in the water as the shots have been taken.
Yeah. He does indeed. They're like, okay, it's a flat terrain. There's only the compound. We didn't hear any footsteps whatsoever. And now they got position 2 right. They're just waiting. This is Fishing Simulator. They got the line out, ready to rail it in when needed. Masenku just knows if he peeks his head, it's over. There you go, a little bit of an emote. Jackie on that black-pink crate, having a fun time. Crack us a little dance, please. Oh, he's not going to do it. I'm sad. Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Yankee with the brim this time around. The Naix taking himself normally, and I say normally, this final chicken dinner of the league play. They can be really proud of them closing off this game.
Yeah, they've had a good run. Of course, Naix will be talked about at the end of the game, I'm sure. And it was great to see another CIS win, to be fair. 2 CIS wins in a row. And, of course, the game has ended.
That's the game over, but Imperium, we got to reput our focus on the teams that deserve the spotlight. Blaze, WildCats, YaLLa Esports, Bloodline, Polar Ace. Did they qualify? Did they fall too short? We'll have to check when we check out the overall standings, but that game was so intense and so many teams are actually fighting for that top 16, which actually cancel out each other, which is really something that they can do go up against whatsoever, but unfortunately did do and sometimes also undo a lot of these teams' position and their chances to make it to the top 16.
Like, I know fastPay got 8 points for that 4th place, but Kyleris, you got to think, have they done enough?
Yeah, it's going to be close. We've been crunching the numbers in the back, and of course we'll show you that a little later on. But that is
crazy.
An interesting couple of circles to finish things off with, especially as it goes for that hard shift down towards the east and Bridge Imperium. That gave a lot of teams problems in terms of the decisions that they needed to make.
It was, and I expected hard shifts, but I definitely didn't expect a hard shifting down south. And the tricky thing around that area is not only was it kind of the coastline, but up until the point it went away from Milta, you did have that city area in play that teams kind of tried to use.
All right, well, gentlemen, I'll see you in the grand finals. Bye-bye for now. Go and enjoy your time. And we are getting on our analysts here to talk about not only that game, but also the group stage as a whole. John and Blank joining me here. Mr. Blankety Blank, we have had quite the few circles towards the end there, especially towards the beach. It really, aside from Naix, almost nobody had a decent position to play.
Not really, no. YaLLa's going to be kicking themselves after that game. I'm pretty sure they did not make it into that top 16. And they're going to kick themselves because they started down where the actual end of the circle finished there. In a similar situation to where Punishers started in a hospital, and then we get a hospital finish, and they're like darting all over the map. I think YaLLa did actually a good job at the beginning of that game too. It was fairly upsetting because they made some decent rotations. They had a nice little split at the beginning of the game to control a large swath of area. But as John will, I'm sure, tell you in a little bit, WildCats had a really nice little game there towards the end. Sure, they didn't have the most fantastic ending, but they definitely got a good amount of points to try irk their way into that top 16.
Yeah, it was interesting that they committed, when the Southern Shift came in, they committed down towards the very edge of where that bridge is to then move in. And considering the way the circles are work, it's an interesting spot to commit to. But John, was it enough?
I'm pretty sure it was. I was adding up the numbers, I was looking at my spreadsheets, I was calculating everything as we were going, and I am pretty sure that the fastPay WildCats have managed to jump over the Marines Force DE squad and put themselves in that 16th spot. So I think they've managed to make it. We'll have to wait for the official standings, for the official word on that, but I'm pretty sure there.
Well, let's see how many points they were able to accrue officially here in this game, as we have NaixCongenials over the top with 29 points, SNAKEsquad with a cool 20, Headquarters with 18, and fastPay WildCats with 12 points. As John mentions, will it be enough here to be able to trump Marines Force DE? We'll find out when we we look at the overall standings a little later on. Konina Power also double digits here, Blank. For me, for Konina Power, a team that I was expecting to be in the very upper echelons of our qualification through to the finals, but they're going to need a little bit more spice if they want to challenge for the championship, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean the star power is kind of removed from the team in Tixie right at the beginning of this one, but I think the moment we were looking at a very convincing middling pack team. I mean, they've never really dropped too far down the tables, but they've never really seen the upper heights of the towers either. So, I mean, it's a little bit sad for Konina Power, and they just right now they don't look like a top 3 finishing team in the league final itself. Heading down though, Bloodline there with 1 point. They're just not able to push it any further in this tournament. Team Umbra going down in 3rd as well. So you know, for Team Umbra, I am almost inclined to think that maybe they're realizing that, you know, it's the end of the tournament, we've made it as far as we want to at this point, so we don't really have to put in too much more effort, we don't have to push out those big kill games, but they will have to come back onto their A game coming into the finals.
Yeah, definitely so. Let's take a look at the highlights here from our last game on Erangel, and you could even see as well teams like Polar Ace, who would have needed a really big game, only getting themselves 3 points whilst this was going on. Vibes running around with shotguns everywhere, the monster running around with Uzis everywhere, John. These early fights were a bit chaotic.
Yeah, it seems to be everyone starting to go central again. This is a stark contrast to the first games of this tournament that we saw. You know, no one was dropping Rozhok, and it was a sparse amount of ground. But even then, we saw a similar thing happen a little bit into the later circles. And we were talking about this during the game, how no one was playing in Potato Hill. No one was trying to control those rotations around the east side of Pachinki, you know, coming down from Rozhok and trying to zone teams away there. That ground was unclaimed. So that fact to me seems like it's just contributing to the chaos that we see later on in these circles.
Yeah, you can see Frag Machines getting a few cheeky ones here and there, and NaixCongenials clearing out what eventually would become a very important compound for them to take. We don't talk about them too much here throughout the tournament, Blank, but NaixCongenials, for me, has been one of those teams that has found themselves decent compounds and been able to hold them. So if the circles are going to go their way in the grand finals, maybe they could make something of it. But beyond that, I don't know. What do you think?
The compounds that they grab usually, do seem to be good in the circle, and they have decent rotations into them. I would almost disagree with the fact that they can hold them, just purely because we've seen stuff like on Sanhok where they've got a good compound and then just been absolutely shunted out of it. And let's cast our mind back to one of the Sanhoks, I believe, in Weekend 1, where they were shunted out of it by unicorns of love of all teams, who we've seen not really do so great in this Weekend 3. So I think that Naix really do have this interesting play style where they grab the compound and they have a good game. It's great, but sometimes they just can't follow it through, and it feels like they tend to play as this 4-man unit and don't really have a lot of that strategic arsenal that you might see a team like Na'Vi has.
So you want to see a bit more from them elsewhere in the grand finals, maybe even just from there.
I would love to see some maybe more aggressive rotations out of compounds rather than just sitting around and waiting around the fire in the living room, and maybe a bit more of a flex towards taking control on the outside. Because going back to it, I think their gun skill actually looks fairly decent. And honestly, I just want them to have maybe a bit more confidence in themselves, because they tend to just let teams rock up on them sometimes. In this certain situation, though, it was a very difficult compound to attack, lots of open ground around it, very visible sightlines for them, so fairly easy win.
Yeah, from some of the farmhouse barns, very, very easy to have some good line of sight. So let's take a look at the overall damage coming in. You make it sound very cozy sitting in some of those compounds with the fire, and you know, I wouldn't mind.
Why would you want to leave?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we got ourselves 2,600 damage coming in from NaixCongenials. So big numbers coming in from them. Headquarters likewise able to put in a lot of work here throughout this game, really kind of having a big impact on the lobby, John.
Yeah, they might not have had a fire in the compound, but they were certainly lighting everyone else up. So they had a pretty decent showing there. 14 kills, 2,500 damage. Exactly what you want to see, especially towards the end of the tournament. I think that's going to put them, that performance, I think, bumps them up into 5th place, if my calculations are correct.
Yeah.
So a really nice finish for them to be in that top 5, be in with a shout in that conversation, as I've said before, for those top spots. But it's one of those teams, again, where they have bits and pieces, but it's never going to take on a team team like Na'Vi in my mind, where you have all of those pieces that have come together. There are weaknesses, don't get me wrong. There are things that Na'Vi can improve, but it feels like they have the most cohesive unit of a team, a most sort of dependable strategy.
Gentlemen, it is time for the overall standings. Let's take a look at our top 16. Let's see if fastPay WildCats was able to make it in. There was only one opportunity to do so. So, of course, as we kind of expected here with our top 8, it seems pretty similar. Team Umbra's had a bit of a fall from grace, but IRAQI Elite has been able to jump nicely up here into the top 8, and NaixCS will solidify themselves in a 5th place spot. But our top 8 here, blank. We won't talk about them too long, but it's a good top 8 here going into our grand final.
I think Headquarters stands out to me the most here, if I'm honest with you. I mean, they started down in 24th at the beginning of the tournament. Now they've bumped their way all up to 7th. It's like a pretty decent improvement from this team as well. And I said it before, if you've got a dragon as your logo, you kind of have to be on the first page here. But Na'Vi right there at the top with 180 points. A clean 180 is very, very nice for them. It's very, very decent. And 5 chicken dinners is more than anyone else in this entire lobby. So you're absolutely happy to see them here, and they definitely deserve to be at the top of their game.
Was that Sid Waddell, the late great darts commentator that I just heard? That was fantastic. Anyway,
it was, yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Let's take a look at our 9th through 16. This page is very important. Did fastPay WildCats make it? Yes, they did. They bumped themselves up 2 places, getting 88 points. Unfortunate John for Marines Force DE, who will fall out. My wildcard pick will not be making it to the grand finals. Darn.
Yeah, not quite, I'm afraid there. There's quite a lot of movement on this page as well, James, and actually quite a tight score grouping from top to bottom. What's that, like a 37-point difference, something like that? 36 maybe? I have to do some subtractions, get my calculator out. But yeah, we're going to see Konina Power qualifying, we're going to see GODSENT qualifying, and we're going to see Alliance qualifying. Konina Power was a team that we've been talking about quite a few times, a little bit, and they've, had their ups and downs. They managed to make it through so they can start to prove themselves in the finals, and for me, it's Alliance and GODSENT who have managed to make that climb, come back from some lower placements, and really shine in these later stages of this league play.
Yeah,
I think you got
16. Go on, Blank.
Yeah, 100%. You got SNAKEsquad up there as well at the top there, James. I mean, they've managed to sink their fangs into a single-digit finish there in 9th place, and they really definitely pushed it today in terms of themselves. I loved it. Yeah, when we get back, we'll hit him. We'll hit him with the snakes. Don't worry about it.
Are you going to do the Cobra thing from the? what's that movie?
We'll hit with the Cobra. Do you reckon we can do it at the same time? Do you reckon we can sync this up?
Oh,
absolutely
God.
not.
Well, yeah, maybe we'll see.
There's too much delay.
Oh, yes, the windy movers of the lobby. Great stuff, great stuff. Let's take a look at our 7th through 24th, as well as unfortunate teams that will not be qualifying through into the grand finals. Marines Force, just 4 points shy of being able to kind of challenge for that top 16 spot. Unfortunate for them. A few teams actually had a pretty decent day. NASR Esports getting a little bit closer and closer, John, but it's not to be.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for a lot of these teams. I mean, we've seen some decent showings coming through from a few of them, but it's just not going to happen, is it? When you're going down that low, but being able to make it. Into this stage of the tournament at all is admirable, right? They all qualified, they all managed to get here, and that alone shows some pretty decent skills on the board. But unfortunately, no further shall they go. Their journey ends here, back home for next season.
Yeah, indeed. And of course, when you make it to the top 32 across as huge a region as EMEA, and fair play to you, great stuff even in that. Let's take a look at our 25 through 32 as well. Some honorable mentions down here. Of course, a lot of these teams really putting up a decent fight throughout the tournament, Blank, but again, not to be here for them. Their tournament road ends here.
No, tournament road does end here indeed, and I think the thing is though, and I think we mentioned there, you can be proud of yourself if you made it this far.
Yeah.
You can definitely be proud of yourself. I think there was around about 450,000 signups total for PMCO overall, and honestly, if you just a casual 450,
Yeah.
But I mean,
450 or 445, I'd have to double check that.
But
anyway,
to be fair,
a lot.
Making yourself way through all those players, all those teams is an incredible feat in of itself, and to get into a top 32 is almost ridiculous. So well done, all of you. Fantastic to have you here, and we will hopefully see you in the future.
Definitely so. And our daily report shows that a team like SNAKEsquad, for example, that we were briefly talking about here in the standings, really putting up a lot today. So great stuff by them, and this is going to maybe bode well for them going into the grand finals. We'll see, but there's some big... All right, well done, guys. Well done. I should have brought them up. I shouldn't have even given you the opportunity. Damn. But here's the tournament report, most importantly as well. World of Wonders showing up with the most damage, but Na'Vi showing up with the most kills. Very efficient in what they were able to do. And actually, Klas Esports, Knights Congenials, well, showing up because they took the most damage, but let's ignore that bit.
Stop it!
Stop showing this one. Great names, to say the least, and we'll see them all in the grand finals. Any kind of final words before we leave you guys on for the grand finals? I'll start with yourself, John.
Speed, violence, momentum. That's what I want to see.
Wow. Okay, Blank.
My final words, maybe a little bit longer than that, I'm not sure, but honestly, just best of luck to all these teams going into the finals. You've come a very, very long way. You're in the top 16. It's a brutal league play that we had here over just 2 weekends, so we can definitely see a little bit more, and it will be very much fighting for those global championships spots in those finals, which is going to be a fantastic reward for a lot of these teams. And if you want to make sure you can tune into the global championships that do start sometime next month, so be very, very excited. In November, of course.
Yeah, exciting times. Well, thank you very much, Blank. Thank you very much, Doc. I'll see you guys for the grand finals on Thursday as they now head on out into the nether once again here. Thank you very much to everybody tuning in around the world for the group stages here. We are back on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for a 4-day grand finals. Our 16 teams will be competing for the lion's share of the prize money. We'll see you then for the EMEA League final.